Imagine being in the middle of chaos, your phone buzzing nonstop, deadlines screaming at you, people demanding your attention, and your own mind running like a hamster on a wheel. Stress, noise, pressure everywhere. Now imagine yourself in that same storm, but calm, clear, unshaken, like a mountain that stands tall no matter how strong the wind blows. But tell me the truth, how many times have you felt the exact opposite? Instead of calm, you felt panic. Instead of control, you felt lost. Instead of strength, you felt like you were drowning in a sea of problems. Here's the reality. Life will never stop being chaotic. You can't control the storm outside, but what you can control is how you face it. And that, my friend, is where the wisdom of Stoicism comes in. This guide you're about to read is not just another self-help book full of cliches. It's a roadmap tested by philosophers who lived through wars, exiles, slavery, and emperorship, and still managed to find peace. It's a set of tools that will help you stand unshaken when everything around you is falling apart. So get ready, because after this book, chaos will no longer control you. You'll learn to see challenges as training, setbacks as teachers, and life storms as opportunities to grow stronger. You won't just be reading words, you'll be reprogramming your mind. And the more you practice, the more calm you'll carry with you into every battle of life. Write this down now. I cannot control the storm, but I can control myself. Because once you truly believe that, nothing will ever break you again. Let's get started. Chaos is the rule of life, not the exception. Fires break out when you least expect them. Plans collapse without warning. People disappoint you, and comfort zones betray you. Yet there is a paradox at the heart of resilience. Those who are calm in the face of disorder are rarely people who have lived easy lives. They are people who have prepared. They have chosen discomfort before it chose them. This is where the first great Stoic lesson begins, the deliberate practice of small hardships. Not as punishment, not as self-denial, but as training. A soldier does not wait for the battlefield to learn how to hold a sword. A sailor does not wait for a storm to learn how to steer. If you want to remain calm in chaos, you must rehearse with chaos in controlled doses. Voluntary discomfort sounds harsh, even unnecessary in a world that celebrates convenience. But think about what happens when you are constantly protected from difficulty. The smallest challenge breaks you. The tiniest delay frustrates you. The smallest insult burns you. By choosing occasional discomfort, you build a mind that is no longer ruled by fear of hardship. Instead, hardship becomes your ally, your teacher, your sharpening stone. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca, one of Rome's greatest philosophers, was wealthy beyond measure. Yet, he deliberately slept on the floor for a few nights each month and ate the simplest of foods. Why? To remind himself that the luxury he enjoyed was not essential, that if fate stripped him of his wealth tomorrow, he would still be capable of surviving. That practice made him stronger, not weaker. Because when you already know you can endure less, you are no longer enslaved to more. And here is the heart of it. Voluntary discomfort is not about living in misery. It is about building proof. Proof that you can handle the things you fear. When your brain has evidence that you can survive on little, survive rejection, survive failure, survive fatigue, then chaos loses its grip on you. One of the greatest obstacles to calm is the fear of what if. What if I lose my job? What if I fail? What if they leave me? What if the money runs out? The mind panics not because it cannot survive, but because it has never rehearsed survival. By deliberately facing small hardships, now you erase the terror of what if later. Start with the body, because the body is the fastest way to train the mind. Skip a meal even when food is available. Walk instead of driving. Sleep without your pillow. Take a cold shower. Push your body past the line of comfort. Not to punish yourself, but to prove to yourself that comfort is not your master. At first, your mind will scream. It will demand relief, but the moment you discover that you can outlast that voice, something powerful shifts. You no longer see yourself as fragile. You see yourself as capable. There is also another dimension. Voluntary discomfort resets your appreciation of life's small pleasures. When every day is soft and easy, gratitude fades. But when you fast and then eat bread, you realize how extraordinary bread is. When you sleep on the floor and then return to your bed, you feel like royalty. Hardship intensifies gratitude. And gratitude is one of the strongest shields against chaos. Because the grateful mind cannot be shaken by small losses, it is already rich. Let us talk about money. Many people live enslaved by the fear of losing wealth. They spend decades chained to jobs they hate because they believe they cannot survive without a certain lifestyle. Yet the Stoics would say, prove it. Live for a few days as if you had nothing. Wear simple clothes. Limit your spending to almost zero. Survive on beans and water. When you discover you can still function, laugh, even feel alive with so little, money loses its power to terrorize you. This does not mean despising wealth. It means no longer fearing its loss. The same principle applies to rejection. Many avoid risk in love, career, and life because they cannot bear the thought of being turned down. But what if you trained yourself to be rejected? You could set small challenges, ask for a discount at a store even knowing they may say no. Approach someone with a question even if they might ignore you. By practicing these tiny rejections, you rewire your brain. You discover that no does not kill you. Chaos in the form of rejection becomes nothing more than a passing breeze. Physical training is another powerful form of voluntary discomfort. The gym, the track, the long run, these are artificial storms you create to test yourself. Every push-up, every heavy lift, every long distance is a rehearsal for life's unpredictability. The pain in your muscles is a controlled form of chaos. And by enduring it willingly, you teach your mind that pain can be carried without panic. That strength translates into every arena of life. There is also the discomfort of silence. We live in a world that drowns itself in constant noise. Music, podcasts, scrolling, endless chatter. Silence feels unbearable for many. But choosing silence is another form of voluntary hardship. When you sit alone with no distractions, your inner chaos rises to the surface. At first, it feels overwhelming, but the more you practice sitting with it, the more you learn that you can face your thoughts without running. You train calm in the eye of the storm of your own mind. Another form is restraint. We live in a culture of immediate gratification. One click, one swipe, one tap, and the desire is fulfilled. But practicing restraint, delaying gratification on purpose, rewires your brain for strength. For example, when you crave sugar, wait an hour before you eat it. When you want to check your phone, resist for 10 more minutes. Each act of restraint is a micro discomfort that trains your mind to remain steady when desires roar. One overlooked but powerful exercise is exposing yourself to controlled embarrassment. Many people live in fear of humiliation, and that fear makes them timid. But embarrassment is only deadly if you run from it. So practice. Speak up in public even if your voice shakes. Try something new in front of others even if you look clumsy. Wear something odd for a day just to see how little other people's opinions truly matter. Once you realize embarrassment cannot destroy you, the chaos of judgment loses its sting. Voluntary discomfort also strengthens compassion. When you know hunger, you understand the hungry. When you know cold, you understand the shivering. When you know rejection, you understand the rejected. Hardship softens arrogance and builds empathy. And empathy is another form of calm. It prevents you from being carried away by anger at others because you recognize their struggles. Mirror your own. There is also a hidden benefit. Discomfort reveals what you truly value. When you strip away convenience, when you lose the extras, you see what remains essential. And essentials are few. Food, shelter, love, purpose. Everything else is decoration. Once you grasp this, chaos in the form of lost luxuries no longer rattles you. You see clearly what matters and clarity breeds calm. Another powerful truth, voluntary discomfort teaches adaptability. The person who only thrives in comfort zones becomes brittle, but the one who trains in varied conditions, heat, cold, hunger, fatigue, becomes flexible. Flexibility is resilience. Life rarely gives you ideal conditions. By rehearsing in less than ideal conditions, you prepare yourself to excel no matter what environment chaos throws at you. And here is a subtle lesson. When you choose discomfort, you reclaim control. Chaos often terrifies us because it strips away choice. But by willingly walking into small storms, you prove to yourself that you can choose how to respond. That choice is the seed of freedom. Freedom is not the absence of hardship. It is the ability to face hardship without losing yourself. What does science say about this? Modern psychology has a concept called stress inoculation. Just like vaccines expose you to a weakened form of a virus so your body learns to fight, small doses of stress train your mind to remain calm under larger stress. Cold showers, fasting, exercise, public speaking drills, these are mental vaccines. They inoculate you against future storms. Resilience research also shows that people who voluntarily face small challenges tend to perform better in crisis than those who live constantly cushioned. It is not trauma that breaks most people. It is the surprise of trauma. When you are used to comfort, the smallest chaos shatters you. When you are used to voluntary discomfort, even large chaos feels survivable. It is crucial, however, to understand that voluntary discomfort is not about masochism. It is not about punishing yourself endlessly. It is about strategic exposure. Just as a doctor administers the right dose of medicine, not too little, not too much. You choose hardships that challenge you without destroying you. The goal is training, not suffering for its own sake. And let us not forget the joy hidden in this practice. At first, discomfort feels like deprivation, but soon you discover the thrill of strength. You realize you can live with less. You realize you can withstand more. You realize you are no longer at the mercy of chaos. That realization carries a strange a lightness, a calm confidence that others will see but not understand. In the end, voluntary discomfort is about freedom. Freedom from fear of loss. Freedom from addiction to comfort. Freedom from the illusion that you are fragile. Chaos may still come, it always does, but you will meet it with calm eyes and steady breath because you have rehearsed for it in advance. So the next time life offers you the easy path, try the harder one. Not always, not recklessly, but intentionally. Skip the shortcut, carry the heavier load, face the silence, delay the gratification. Sleep on the floor. Say no to luxury for a while. Let discomfort be your teacher. Because when the real storms come, and they will, you will already know how to stand. When you learn to embrace discomfort willingly, you free yourself from the constant need for comfort. But there is another prison that often goes unnoticed: the fear of what might happen tomorrow. You can train your body to endure hunger, cold, or fatigue. But if your mind trembles at every thought of misfortune, chaos will still conquer you. Strength is incomplete if it only lives in the present moment. You must also know how to prepare for the future without becoming its slave. The Stoics called this practice premeditatio malorum, the meditation on evils. At first, it sounds dark, almost pessimistic. Why would anyone spend time thinking about everything that could go wrong? Isn't life already hard enough? But here lies the genius of the exercise. By facing potential hardships in your mind before they arrive, you take away their power to shock you. A storm that you have already rehearsed in thought cannot drown you with surprise. The key is balance. This practice is not about living in constant dread. It is about transforming fear into foresight, turning anxiety into preparation. It is like looking at a battlefield before the war begins. Not to terrify yourself, but to choose the best strategy. When you anticipate misfortune, you do not collapse when it comes. You simply nod and say, "I expected you." Think of a traveler preparing for a journey. The one who believes the road will always be smooth is undone by the first delay or obstacle. But the traveler who has already pictured rain, hunger, and exhaustion walks forward calmly when those very things appear. That calmness is not born from luck. It is crafted from mental rehearsal. This exercise works because fear often grows from surprise. A sudden job loss, a betrayal, an illness. What shakes us most is not only the event itself, but the fact that it arrives unannounced. By rehearsing the possibility of such events, you steal fear's favorite weapon, the element of surprise. The practice is simple in theory. Each day, quietly reflect on the difficulties that could cross your path. Consider the loss of wealth, the illness of loved ones, the betrayal of friends, the unpredictability of nature. At first, your mind will resist. It will whisper, "Why dwell on dark things?" But remember, this is not dwelling. It is strengthening. It is preparing your heart to remain calm when others collapse. One of Seneca's most powerful lines was this: "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." The wisdom here is striking. A person who never contemplates misfortune is destroyed twice. Once by the fear when it arrives, and once by the suffering itself. But the person who has already anticipated the blow is only struck once. To understand this better, think of grief. When someone close to us dies, the pain can feel unbearable. Yet Stoics encouraged reflecting in advance on the fact that everyone we love is mortal. Not to make us cold, but to make us aware that each day is a borrowed gift. When death eventually comes, the pain is real but not shocking. Instead of collapsing, we find strength in the knowledge that we were not blind to the truth of life's impermanence. The same applies to wealth. The person who never considers the possibility of losing money is shaken to the core when markets crash or jobs vanish. But the person who has already pictured life with less is steadier. They can pivot, adapt, and move forward. The loss hurts, but it does not paralyze. Premeditatio malorum is also a cure for arrogance. When everything goes well, it is easy to believe that fortune will always favor you. But by rehearsing the possibility of illness, failure, or betrayal, you remain humble and grounded. You know that you are not untouchable, and that humility prepares you to treat others with more kindness and less judgment. There is also a practical layer to this exercise. By imagining what could go wrong, you often find ways to prevent it. A captain who considers storms equips his ship more wisely. A leader who anticipates betrayal builds stronger systems of trust. A worker who imagines losing their job develops skills to remain employable. In this way, the exercise not only reduces fear, but actively increases resilience. However, the balance is delicate. The danger is slipping into obsessive worry. The Stoics warned against turning premeditatio malorum into endless catastrophizing. The goal is not to live every day expecting disaster, but to practice envisioning it in a way that strengthens you, not weakens you. The difference lies in your tone. A warrior says, "What if this happens? I will never survive." A Stoic says, "If this happens, I will endure because I have rehearsed it." Modern psychology supports this. Studies on exposure therapy show that people who gradually face their fears in controlled settings reduce their anxiety over time by repeatedly visualizing or experiencing a feared scenario. The brain learns that it is survivable. The Stoics were practicing this centuries before science confirmed it. They taught people to step into the theater of the mind and expose themselves to the very scenes they feared most until those scenes lost their power. A helpful technique is to practice this exercise at the start of each day. Before leaving your home, consider, "I may be insulted today. I may face delays. I may encounter rudeness. I may lose money." When those very things occur, you meet them with a calm smile because you already prepared. Instead of anger, you feel recognition. "Ah, yes, I thought of this." This practice is also deeply tied to gratitude. When you picture losing something, you become more grateful for it while you still have it. If you rehearse the thought of losing your health, you treasure your ability to walk, breathe, and eat today. If you picture the death of a loved one, you become more present with them while they live. Far from making you cold, the exercise warms your appreciation of what you currently hold. There is a story of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, who wrote in his meditations that he would remind himself each morning, "Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness." To most people that sounds depressing, but Marcus was not filling himself with dread. He was stripping those encounters of their power to shock him. When he actually met rude or selfish people, his heart remained calm because he had already welcomed the possibility in his mind. Premeditatio malorum is also a way of gaining perspective. By confronting possible misfortunes, you learn to see which are truly catastrophic and which are merely inconveniences. Losing wealth may sting, but it does not destroy your capacity for virtue. Facing insult may hurt pride, but it does not harm your character. The exercise teaches you to rank misfortunes accurately, which reduces panic when they appear. Another aspect is the training of courage. Fear feeds on vagueness. The unknown feels infinite and monstrous. But once you look directly at a possible misfortune, its size shrinks. It is no longer a shadowy monster. It becomes a defined challenge. You can face it, plan for it, and live through it. The act of naming the fear weakens it. This practice also builds inner independence. Most people tie their peace to external events going smoothly. If those events collapse, so does their calm. But by anticipating loss, insult, or failure, you build an inner fortress that does not depend on fragile circumstances. You can walk calmly into situations that terrify others because you have rehearsed the worst and accepted it. In relationships, this practice has surprising benefits. By remembering that friends may disappoint and loved ones may fail, you free yourself from unrealistic expectations. Instead of being shattered by betrayal, you meet it with sorrow, but not disbelief. You knew that humans are fallible, and this knowledge cushions the blow. Premeditatio malorum also sharpens focus on what is truly within your control. If you rehearse the thought of losing external things, money, reputation, status, you are reminded that these were never truly yours. What is always yours is your character, your judgment, your response. And when you see that clearly, external chaos loses its grip on your mind. The exercise can even change how you view success. Many people fear success because they secretly fear losing it. But once you rehearse the possibility of losing what you gain, you are free to pursue achievement without being enslaved to its preservation. You know that you can enjoy it while it lasts and let it go if fate demands. There is also a connection to resilience in leadership. A leader who has rehearsed potential failures, financial losses, team betrayal, market crashes does not collapse in front of their people when those happen. Instead, they stay steady because the storm is one they already visited in their thoughts. Their calm gives others confidence, and the entire group becomes stronger. To practice effectively, it helps to write down your reflections. Begin with a few lines each day. Today I may face loss. If I lose, I will endure. Today I may face insult. If I am insulted, it cannot harm my character. Today I may face death, but death is the nature of life. Writing these reflections embeds them more deeply into the mind, turning abstract philosophy into practical preparation. There is also an advanced practice. Occasionally rehearse the absolute worst-case scenario, not just losing money or facing insult, but death itself. The Stoics often meditated on mortality not to depress themselves, but to free themselves. If you can accept the possibility of death, then everything else feels small in comparison. Suddenly, minor misfortunes lose their sting. The beauty of this practice is that it transforms life itself. Instead of moving blindly hoping chaos never finds you, you walk with calm because you know chaos is inevitable. You do not flinch at its arrival. You accept it, you adapt, and you continue forward. Fear becomes foresight. Panic becomes preparation. When practiced consistently, premeditatio malorum gives you a strange power. Others will wonder why you stay so calm when events collapse. They will see you steady while others panic. They may even think you are indifferent, but the truth is different. You are not indifferent. You are prepared. And this preparation changes how you live each day. Instead of clinging desperately to possessions and people as if they were eternal, you appreciate them fully in the moment. Instead of fearing loss, you love more deeply because you know the fleeting nature of everything you hold. This is the paradox. By contemplating misfortune, you increase joy. Life will always deliver storms, some small, some devastating. The Stoics never promised to eliminate pain. What they offered was a way to carry pain without breaking. Premeditatio malorum is one of their most powerful tools, a mental rehearsal that strips fear of its surprise and arms you with calm. So as you walk forward, do not shy away from reflecting on what could go wrong. Welcome those thoughts as training. Practice meeting them with steady eyes. Turn them from shadows into familiar visitors. Because when chaos arrives, and it always will, you will meet it not with trembling, but with a quiet nod of recognition. When you train the mind to expect difficulties before they arrive, you build an armor that makes you less vulnerable to surprise. Yet even with this preparation, there is another danger that can quickly undo all progress. The sudden rush of emotion when events actually strike. It is one thing to anticipate insult in theory, and another to feel anger boiling the moment someone disrespects you. It is one thing to know that loss may come, and another to feel your heart collapse when it finally does. Preparation removes surprise, but mastery requires something deeper: the ability to pause before reacting. This is the discipline of delay, the art of refusing to be dragged by the first impulse. The difference between those who are consumed by chaos and those who stand above it is often measured in seconds. A single pause, a brief delay, can mean the difference between regret and wisdom, between escalation and peace. The world constantly pushes you to react instantly. Social media thrives on outrage. Arguments demand quick comebacks. Pressure at work demands fast answers. Yet Stoic strength is the opposite, slowing down. When insulted, you wait. When anger rises, you breathe. When tempted to lash out, you give yourself distance. That pause is not weakness, it is control. The human brain has two speeds. The first is fast, emotional, reactive. It is the ancient survival mechanism that leaps into fight or flight. The second is slower, thoughtful, deliberate. Most chaos in our lives comes from letting the first speed dominate. A harsh word triggers anger. A delay triggers frustration. A disappointment triggers despair. By training the discipline of delay, you give power back to the second speed, the one that weighs, reflects, and chooses. Seneca warned that anger is a kind of temporary madness. It seizes the mind before reason has a chance to intervene. But even anger, when delayed, weakens. Emotions are like flames, they flare quickly. But if you do not feed them, they fade. The person who practices delay learns to let the first surge of fire pass and then respond with clarity. Practical methods exist for this training. One is to literally count before responding. When anger strikes, count slowly in your head. When tempted to send a sharp reply, pause before pressing the button. That short delay interrupts the chain between impulse and action. In that gap, reason slips back in. Another is controlled breathing. Deep, slow breaths send signals to the body that it is safe, calming the storm that emotions try to ignite. The discipline of delay is also about recognizing that most things do not require immediate action. Life pushes the illusion of urgency, but very little is truly urgent. An email can wait. A decision can be slept on. A judgment can be postponed. The more you practice waiting, the more you see that time itself dissolves the chaos that seemed unbearable in the moment. There is also wisdom in silence. When provoked, silence is a weapon, not silence of weakness, but silence of strength. By refusing to answer immediately, you deny others control over your emotions. You remain the master of your response. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that others can only harm him if he consents to being harmed. Delay gives you space to remember this. Delaying reaction is not suppression. Suppression pushes emotions down without resolving them. Delay allows them to cool and then be examined. It is like holding a burning coal in your hand. If you throw it immediately, you burn someone else. If you clutch it, you burn yourself. But if you set it down and let it cool, you can later handle it safely. The discipline of delay is not only for anger, it applies to fear. When anxiety rises, if you react instantly, you may run, avoid, or panic. But if you pause, if you let the wave crest and subside, you discover the fear loses its sharpness. It also applies to desire, the urge to indulge, to buy, to overeat, to distract yourself. If you pause, the desire often fades. Delay reveals that many impulses are temporary illusions. This practice is also linked to dignity. Those who react instantly are like puppets, jerked by every string the world pulls. Those who delay move with composure, acting when they choose. Dignity grows from this self-command. People begin to trust your judgment, not because you are brilliant, but because you are steady. Modern neuroscience confirms what the Stoics taught. Studies of the brain show that strong emotions activate the amygdala, the center of threat detection. But by pausing, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thought, can take control. This small delay allows you to act with intention instead of impulse. In practice, it means fewer regrets, fewer apologies, and fewer self-created disasters. A useful training ground is conversation. In discussion, especially heated ones, Practice waiting before you respond. Do not rush to fill silence. Do not defend immediately. Let the other person's words settle. Often they reveal themselves more fully if you do not interrupt. And when you do respond, your words carry more weight because they are measured, not reactive. There is also power in delaying judgment. Humans rush to label events as good or bad, but the Stoics reminded us that events are neutral. It is our judgment that creates suffering. By delaying judgment, you give space for events to reveal their meaning. A failure may later prove to be a lesson. An insult may reveal more about the other person than about you. By holding back your judgment, you reduce unnecessary turmoil. Training this discipline can start with small acts. When you receive a message that upsets you, do not answer at once. When someone cuts you off in traffic, breathe before reacting. When you feel envy rising, delay before feeding it with comparison. Each delay strengthens your ability to remain calm when bigger storms arrive. Patience is a form of delay, and patience is strength. The one who can wait, who does not let urgency dictate action, often ends up making the wiser move. Many mistakes come not from malice but from haste. By slowing down, you save yourself years of regret created by seconds of reaction. The discipline of delay also deepens relationships. Think of how many arguments spiral because of words spoken too quickly. A delayed word unspoken in anger can save a friendship, a marriage, a bond. Delay is not avoidance. It is choosing the right moment to speak when words heal instead of harm. This discipline also builds resilience against manipulation. Many people and systems thrive on provoking quick responses, advertisements, political speeches, online arguments. By delaying your reaction, you make yourself harder to manipulate. You choose whether to engage instead of being pulled like a fish on a hook. At a deeper level, delay is about sovereignty. When you delay, you prove to yourself that your emotions do not own you. You own them. You can feel anger without becoming anger. You can feel fear without becoming fear. You can feel desire without becoming its slave. That knowledge creates unshakable calm in the middle of chaos. In leadership, this quality is priceless. A leader who reacts instantly to every crisis spreads panic. A leader who delays, assesses, and responds with composure spreads calm. People naturally gather around those who can wait without losing focus. Their delay becomes an anchor in turbulent times. To cultivate this, practice deliberate slowing in daily life. Walk a little slower, eat more slowly. Read without rushing. Train yourself to resist the constant pressure of speed. Slowness in small things prepares you for slowness in great things where it matters most. Another practice is reflection after delay. When you succeed in pausing, reflect on how it changed the outcome. Notice how anger diminished, how fear shrank, how the situation felt lighter. These reflections reinforce the value of the discipline, making it easier to repeat. Over time, delay becomes natural. At first, it feels like effort. You must remind yourself, count, breathe, hold silence. But eventually it becomes instinct. You no longer leap at every trigger. You stand firm, waiting, and then choose the best path. This is freedom in its purest form. The freedom to respond, not react. The storms of life will always bring provocation. Insults, temptations, fears, and frustrations will always try to grab your emotions. But with the discipline of delay, you build a buffer between stimulus and response. In that buffer lies calm, strength, and wisdom. Chaos feeds on speed. It wants you to act without thinking. Delay starves chaos. It gives you space to see clearly. And in that clarity, you find the peace that others lose. You learn that mastery is not in controlling the world, but in controlling yourself long enough to choose your response wisely. So the next time life pushes you to react, resist. Wait, breathe, hold silence. Let the fire burn low before you act. In that pause lies the strength to remain calm when the world tries to tear calm away. When you learn to pause before reacting, you gain control over the moment. That pause saves you from regret, from reckless words, from choices made in anger or fear. Yet there is still something greater to understand. Life will never stop throwing you into storms. Even with preparation, even with delay, you cannot escape hardship. The question is not how to avoid chaos, but how to use it. The Stoics saw crisis differently from most people. Where others saw disaster, they saw training. Where others begged fate for calm, they treated turmoil as a gymnasium for the mind. Muscles do not grow without resistance, and neither does character. The weight of chaos is the very thing that strengthens you if you learn to carry it. This perspective is radical because it turns life on its head. Instead of asking why me when misfortune strikes, you begin to ask, what is this moment training me for? That single shift transforms suffering into discipline, pain into practice, and setbacks into opportunities to sharpen resilience. Chaos no longer appears as an enemy, but as an instructor. Seneca wrote that difficulties strengthen the mind just as labor strengthens the body. Marcus Aurelius, burdened with wars, plagues, and betrayals, reminded himself that the obstacles before him were not interruptions, but material for his virtue. Each crisis gave him a chance to prove patience, courage, or justice. Without challenges, virtue remains untested like a sword that never leaves its sheath. Reframing chaos as training begins with understanding that growth requires friction. A sailor skilled only in calm waters is useless in a storm. A soldier who has never faced battle is untested. A leader who has never handled failure is unproven. In the same way, your inner strength cannot mature if life always bends to your comfort. Chaos is the training ground where strength is revealed. The first lesson in this training is endurance. Hardship stretches your capacity to bear weight. The more you carry, the stronger you become. Each crisis you survive proves that your limit was further than you thought. Pain expands the borders of your resilience, showing you that what once seemed impossible is now within reach. The second lesson is creativity. In comfort, routines rule, but crises force adaptation. When plans fail, when resources vanish, when the usual paths close, the mind searches for new ways forward. Creativity is born not in ease, but in necessity. Chaos sharpens your ability to improvise, to find solutions hidden beneath the rubble of failure. The third lesson is humility. Crisis reminds you that you are not in control of the world. The storm is bigger than you, yet in that recognition lies freedom. By bowing to what cannot be controlled, you stop wasting strength on the impossible and direct it to what remains in your hands. Humility is not weakness, it is clarity. Another lesson is perspective. Chaos strips away trivial concerns. A person who has faced illness sees clearly how petty past worries were. Someone who has lost everything no longer trembles at minor inconveniences. Crises rearrange priorities, teaching you what truly matters. That clarity is worth more than comfort. Resilience grows when you deliberately choose to treat every crisis as practice. Instead of resenting difficulty, you lean into it as training. Just as an athlete thanks the weight that resists him, you begin to thank the hardships that shape you. This gratitude does not erase pain, but gives it purpose. Pain with purpose becomes bearable, even transformative. Consider how even daily frustrations can be reframed. Traffic becomes training for patience. Insults become training for dignity. Delays become training for composure. Betrayal becomes training for forgiveness. By viewing each disturbance as a drill for the soul, you strip it of its sting. It no longer feels like punishment, but like a lesson disguised in rough clothing. The Stoic method here is mental alchemy, turning misfortune into fuel. If someone insults you, the insult becomes a weight to lift. If you fail, the failure becomes resistance to push against. You cannot control the existence of the weight, but you can choose to grow stronger by lifting it. Modern psychology calls this post-traumatic growth. The idea that hardship, while painful, can also leave people more resilient, more empathetic, more purposeful. The Stoics anticipated this truth long ago. They taught that suffering is not simply to be endured, but to be used. The mind that knows how to use pain becomes unbreakable. The training ground of chaos also reveals hidden virtues. You may think yourself patient until someone tests your patience. You may think yourself brave until fear stares you down. Crisis uncovers the gap between your ideals and your reality. That exposure is not meant to shame you, but to show you where to train harder. Crises also train detachment from comfort. When comfort is stolen and you survive, you realize you were stronger than your luxury suggested. This detachment creates freedom. You no longer depend on fragile circumstances to feel whole. You carry stability within you because you know you can endure without external ease. Reframing chaos as training also prevents despair. If suffering is meaningless, despair follows. But if suffering is training, hope remains. Even in loss, you know you are gaining strength. Even in failure, you know you are gaining lessons. This perspective keeps despair from taking root in your mind. There is also the lesson of composure. In crisis, others panic. But if you treat chaos as training, you remain calm like a seasoned athlete lifting a familiar weight. Your composure becomes contagious. Others draw strength from your steadiness. The training you accepted privately becomes a gift to others publicly. The practice requires conscious effort. When crisis comes, the natural reaction is to resist, complain, or collapse. But with practice, you train your first thought to shift. Not why is this happening, but how can I use this? That small change in question transforms your entire experience of chaos. To practice, begin with small irritations. Each day brings minor case, arguments, delays, discomfort. Treat each as a chance to strengthen a particular virtue. Then, when larger storms arrive, your mind is already conditioned to see them as part of the same training. Small drills prepare you for big battles. Over time, this perspective transforms identity. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of chaos and start seeing yourself as a student of it. Every crisis becomes a classroom, every hardship a teacher. You begin to carry yourself differently, not with arrogance, but with the quiet confidence of someone who has been tested and refined. There is beauty in this approach. Life will always bring disorder. You cannot control its timing, size, or shape, but you can control whether it crushes you or strengthens you. If you see it as punishment, you break. If you see it as training, you grow. That choice belongs to you. So when the next storm comes, do not curse it. Step into it like an athlete entering the gym. Feel its weight. Let it stretch your endurance, sharpen your creativity, deepen your humility, and clarify your perspective. Every trial becomes a set of repetitions. Every setback, another round of training. Chaos once feared becomes the forge where strength is made. And when others ask how you remain calm while the world shakes, you will know the truth. You are not surviving chaos. You are training in it. When you learn to see every crisis as training, you stop treating hardship as an enemy and begin treating it as a teacher. That shift gives meaning to suffering and builds strength from the very chaos that tries to break you. But there is another layer of discipline that the Stoics considered essential. Training does not only happen in storms of action, noise, and conflict. It also happens in the deliberate practice of quiet. Because when the world around you becomes loud and demanding, silence becomes more than absence of sound. It becomes a shield, a weapon, and a source of inner clarity. Noise is not just physical. It is the constant chatter of other people's opinions, the endless stream of news, the pressure of expectations, the restless commentary of your own mind. All of it competes for your attention, scattering your thoughts until you feel pulled in 100 directions. In turbulent times, the person who cannot find silence becomes a prisoner of noise-driven anxiety. But the one who cultivates silence creates a sanctuary within, a place untouched by the storm outside. The Stoics understood that silence was not emptiness, but discipline. Epictetus taught that we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, to listen more than we speak. This was not only advice for better conversation, but for life itself. Noise is reactive. Silence is deliberate. When you hold silence, you slow down the flood of external voices and allow space for your own reason to rise. Silence protects you from being carried away by the world's chaos. In times of political unrest, financial panic, or social frenzy, people often amplify each other's fears by talking endlessly. Rumors spread, anger multiplies, and panic becomes contagious. But the one who steps back into silence does not catch this infection. They create distance between themselves and the hysteria. That distance is where calm is preserved. Silence is also a teacher of self-mastery. Many people speak as a way of venting, filling the air with unmeasured words that later cause regret. But when you learn to withhold speech, you train patience. You prove to yourself that you are not ruled by impulse, that you can choose your words instead of letting them escape uncontrolled. Silence creates space for intention. This does not mean withdrawing permanently or refusing to communicate. Stoic silence is selective, not absolute. It is the discipline of knowing when speech serves reason and when it serves chaos. The right word at the right time can build peace, but unnecessary words often feed disorder. By practicing silence, you sharpen the ability to discern which is which. Silence also nourishes perception. In noise, details vanish. But when you are quiet, you notice more the tone in someone's voice, the shifts in their expression, the subtle truths hidden between words. Silence turns you into an observer instead of a participant in frenzy. An observation gives you insight that noisy people miss. One of the most overlooked benefits of silence is that it disarms conflict. In an argument, silence denies fuel to anger. Instead of escalating, you cool the fire by refusing to throw words into it. Many quarrels collapse because one side chooses not to answer. What looks like retreat is often wisdom. The ego wants victory in speech. Reason prefers peace and quiet. Silence also protects your energy. Constant noise drains. The more you engage with it, the more scattered you become. But deliberate quiet allows recovery. It gathers your strength inward instead of letting it bleed out into endless chatter. In turbulent times, conserving energy is vital, and silence is one of the simplest ways to protect it. The practice can be cultivated through simple choices. Begin by resisting the urge to fill every gap in conversation. Allow silence to exist without rushing to cover it. In daily life, limit unnecessary noise. Step away from endless media. Mute notifications. Spend moments in stillness without distraction. These are small acts, but together they create an environment where calm can grow. Silence also reveals the voice within. Beneath the noise of the world, your own thoughts often remain unheard. When you enter quiet, you meet yourself. You hear what you truly believe, what you truly fear, what you truly want. This self-knowledge is not always comfortable, but it is essential. Without silence, you risk living only by borrowed voices. The Stoics believe silence sharpens judgment. When you do not rush to speak or react, you give reason space to weigh the situation. A hasty word once spoken cannot be retrieved, but silence always leaves room for choice. It is easier to break silence later than to undo reckless speech. Modern research mirrors this wisdom. Studies on mindfulness and meditation show that intentional quiet lowers stress, improves focus, and calms the nervous system. The brain, overwhelmed by constant input, resets when given silence. Anxiety decreases because silence reduces overstimulation. What the Stoics practice as philosophy, modern science now confirms. Another benefit is that silence cultivates mystery and respect. A person who always talks soon loses influence. Their words become noise. But one who speaks rarely after long silence commands attention when they finally speak. Their words carry weight because they are not scattered lightly. Silence becomes the soil from which meaningful speech grows. Silence is also linked to courage. Many speak out of fear of being forgotten or ignored. But the one who holds silence shows they do not need constant affirmation. Their value does not depend on being heard every moment. This inner security is a form of strength, a refusal to let noise dictate worth. At times, silence is the highest form of defiance. When injustice or cruelty attempts to provoke you into rage, silence can be resistance. Not silence that accepts injustice, but silence that refuses to be reduced to the same noise as the oppressor. It is the calm refusal to let others dictate your state of mind. Silence can also be spiritual. To sit in stillness, free from chatter, is to touch something beyond the self. The Stoics often reflected on nature, on the vastness of the cosmos in silence. In that quiet perspective shifts, personal troubles shrink against the background of eternity. Silence opens the door to awe, which dissolves anxiety. But silence is not always easy. It feels unnatural in a culture that equates noise with life. The moment you try to sit in quiet, your mind rebels with restlessness. Yet this is the very reason it must be trained. The discipline of silence is not comfortable at first, but each practice strengthens your ability to carry it into chaos. Over time, silence becomes not absence, but presence. a presence of clarity, of strength, of calm. Others will sense it when you walk into a room, the quiet confidence of someone who does not need to speak to prove their worth. That presence cannot be faked. It is built through countless moments of intentional quiet. When the world shakes with panic, those who can find silence carry peace not only for themselves but for others. Their calm becomes a harbor where others can rest. In this way, silence is not selfish withdrawal but a gift. It creates stability in unstable times. The Stoic use of silence was never about escape. It was about mastery. Mastery over impulse, over noise, over fear. In turbulent times, silence becomes the ground where your reason stands unshaken. Words may stir the storm, but quiet anchors you. And when you finally choose to speak, your words cut through noise like a blade through air because they are born from silence, not from chaos. When silence is practiced with discipline, you begin to see how much strength lies in restraint. By holding back words, by stepping away from noise, you reclaim energy and clarity. Yet there is a deeper lesson hidden inside that practice. The realization that not everything is meant to bend to your will. You may quiet your tongue, but you cannot quiet the storm outside. You may calm your breath, but you cannot command the winds of fate. This is where the Stoics demanded honesty, learning to distinguish between what belongs to you and what never did. Much of human suffering comes from trying to control what cannot be controlled. People lose sleep over the opinions of others, over the turning of markets, over the outcomes of politics, over the march of time itself. They exhaust themselves fighting battles they cannot win. The Stoics called this the confusion of spheres, mistaking the external world as yours to govern when in truth only your inner world is fully within your grasp. Detachment from the need to control is not indifference. It is clarity. It means you stop wasting strength on what belongs to chance and redirect it to what belongs to you. Your choices, your judgments, your actions. The storm outside may rage, but the decision to remain upright belongs to you. Fate may strip you of wealth or health, but whether you meet it with despair or courage is in your hands. That boundary, the division between what is yours and what is not, is the foundation of calm. Epictetus taught that freedom begins the moment you draw this line. If it is outside your sphere, release it. If it is within, take full responsibility. Many fail because they reverse the order. They cling desperately to outcomes while neglecting the one thing they truly command, their response. Detachment is not escape from life, but the refusal to enslave yourself to illusions of control. Consider relationships. You cannot control how others think, feel, or act. Yet many build their lives around this attempt, trying to shape others into desired forms. The result is frustration, anger, and disappointment. But when you accept that another's mind is not yours to command, you are free. You can influence with example, with kindness, with reason, but the outcome is theirs, not yours. Detachment allows love without chains and connection without possession. The same applies to reputation. People crave approval, obsess over criticism, and build fragile identities based on the shifting judgments of the crowd. But reputation lives outside your sphere. You can act with integrity, but how others perceive you is their affair. By detaching from the need to control perception, you find stability. Praise no longer intoxicates you and blame no longer crushes you. You remain steady because your measure of worth comes from within, not from the noise of outside voices. Detachment also applies to outcomes. You may work diligently on a project, but the final result is shaped by countless variables outside your control. Market conditions, timing, the choices of others. If you tie your peace to the outcome, you become hostage to chance. But if you tie your peace to the effort itself, you cannot be robbed of it. Success becomes the act of doing your duty with excellence, regardless of how the dice fall. This principle also reshapes your relationship with time. You cannot control the past no matter how much you replay it in your head. You cannot control the future no matter how much you worry. Only the present moment is within reach, and even then, only your choice is within it. Detachment from the need to control time frees you from regret and anxiety. You meet each moment with full attention because it is the only sphere you truly inhabit. Another area where detachment matters is health. You can care for your body, eat well, exercise, rest, but sickness may still come. Age will certainly come. To believe you can control the inevitabilities of mortality is to invite fear at every wrinkle, dread at every symptom. But by detaching from the illusion of control, you transform how you live. You tend to your health wisely but without panic. You recognize that death belongs to nature and that peace comes not from control but from acceptance. Detachment from control also teaches resilience. When things do not go your way, you do not collapse because you never believed they had to. You invested your effort where it mattered, your actions, your character, your will, and left the rest to fate. Disappointment shrinks when you stop expecting the universe to obey your desires. Modern psychology supports this division. The concept of locus of control distinguishes between those who believe their fate is dictated by external forces and those who focus on what they can personally influence. The Stoic approach refines this. Focus only on the inner locus because that is where your true power resides. Every other attempt at control leads to stress, anxiety, and despair. Detachment also cultivates courage. When you no longer cling to controlling outcomes, you take bolder action. Fear fades because fear is tied to results, and you have already surrendered results to fate. What remains is the courage to act rightly, regardless of what follows. Detachment does not weaken effort. It purifies it. You act for virtue, not for guarantees. In turbulent times, this principle becomes essential. When markets fall, when governments shift, when disasters strike, panic grips those who believe they controlled stability. But the Stoic, trained in detachment, remain steady. They mourn loss, but they do not collapse because they never confuse external security with true security. Their foundation lies in what cannot be taken, their own reasoned choice. Practicing this detachment requires daily reminders. Each morning, reflect on what is yours and what is not. Your actions are yours. Your opinions are yours. Your desires and aversions are yours. The behavior of others, the turning of fortune, the course of events, these are not. Hold the line clearly in your mind. The moment you forget it, you surrender your calm. Detachment also applies in the smallest irritations. A delayed flight, rude service, bad weather. These belong to fate. Your control is only over your response. The more you practice in small things, the more natural it becomes in great things. When real disaster strikes, you are already trained to separate what you can do from what you cannot. One of the most powerful effects of this discipline is the release of unnecessary suffering. Much of what torments people is not the event itself, but the demand that it should have been different. Detachment dissolves this demand. You stop fighting reality with should. You meet it as it is and act within it. This acceptance is not passivity. It is the foundation of effective action because your energy is no longer wasted on illusions. Detachment from control also sharpens gratitude. When you stop clinging to outcomes, you see every blessing as a gift, not an entitlement. You cherish what you have while it lasts without demanding it remain forever. This gratitude makes loss easier to bear because you lived in appreciation, not in assumption. It is also a shield against manipulation. Those who crave control over external things are easy to sway because they can be tempted or threatened with them. But the one who has released that need cannot be coerced. They cannot be bribed with praise or crushed with blame. Their independence is untouchable. The Stoics often compared life to a play. You do not control the script, the stage, or the roles of others. You control only how well you perform your part. To demand more is to misunderstand your place. Detachment means playing your role with excellence without demanding the director rewrite the play for your comfort. This mindset also transforms ambition. You may strive for achievement, but your peace no longer depends on reaching it. You aim high not because you must control the result, but because effort itself refines you. If fortune grants success, you are grateful. If it does not, you remain undisturbed because you never demanded the universe reward you. Detachment from the need to control brings freedom. Freedom from the tyranny of other people's opinions. Freedom from anxiety about the future. Freedom from regret about the past. Freedom from despair. When fate takes what you love, that freedom does not mean you feel nothing. It means you feel without being ruled. it means you suffer without being shattered. In the end, this principle is simple yet profound. Control your sphere. Release the rest. Anchor yourself in what belongs to you, your reason, your choices, your virtue, and let the rest flow as it will. Chaos may swirl outside, but inside you stand unbroken because you no longer carry the impossible burden of ruling the universe. You carry only yourself, and that is enough. When you accept that much of life lies outside your control, you step into freedom. You no longer waste yourself chasing the impossible, and your strength is directed toward what is truly yours: your judgments, your actions, your character. Yet freedom is constantly tested by the sharp words of others. An insult, a criticism, a careless remark can sting more than physical hardship. People who would endure hunger or fatigue collapse under a single harsh word. This is why the Stoics gave so much attention to the art of handling offense. For Epictetus, the insult was not a wound, but a mirror, a chance to study the self. Words are powerful because they touch our pride. Pride craves recognition, and when it is denied or attacked, anger rises. But anger is proof that you have given another person power over your peace. To be insulted is one thing. To feel destroyed by it is another. The difference lies in interpretation. Epictetus taught that no insult harms you unless you choose to believe it does. The sound of words cannot pierce the soul without your consent. The discipline here is to reinterpret insult as material for growth. Instead of reacting with wounded pride, you pause and ask, is there truth in what was said? If so, the insult becomes free correction, a mirror showing you a flaw you had not noticed. And if it is false, then it reveals nothing about you, but much about the speaker. Either way, the offense transforms into insight about yourself or about human nature. This perspective requires training. The natural impulse when insulted is to strike back, to defend, to prove superiority. But this only multiplies noise and feeds anger. By reframing insult, you reclaim mastery. You step back, you examine, you decide how to use the moment. Insult loses its power to wound because it has been turned into a tool. There is strength in remembering that insults are opinions, not facts. An opinion says more about the one who holds it than about the one it is directed at. If someone calls you foolish, it may reflect their impatience, their prejudice, or their own insecurity. You are not obliged to carry their judgment as if it were truth. The mind that can hold insult at a distance remains unshaken. Epictetus often reminded his students that people speak from their perspective, shaped by their upbringing, desires, and limitations. Why then treat their words as divine verdicts? If a child calls you weak, do you rage? No, because you recognize the child's ignorance. In the same way, insults from adults should be weighed with the same detachment. Their words are a reflection of their view, not an absolute truth about you. Another exercise is to treat insults as tests of dignity. Anyone can remain calm when praised. It takes discipline to remain calm when attacked. Each insult is a chance to strengthen composure. Every time you refuse to be provoked, you grow in mastery. The insult becomes a sparring partner in the gymnasium of the soul. Without such sparring, your patience and humility remain untested. There is also wisdom in considering the source. If a person you respect offers critique, it may be valuable correction. If a person with no knowledge of your life or character mocks you, why give their words weight? To treat every insult as equal is to abandon judgment. Discernment means recognizing which words carry wisdom and which are empty noise. The Stoics also emphasize the value of detaching self-worth from reputation. If your peace depends on universal approval, you will always be vulnerable. No matter how virtuous you are, someone will dislike you, someone will misunderstand you, someone will attack you. To expect otherwise is to fight the nature of the world. By grounding worth in your own actions rather than external praise, insults lose the ability to shake your foundation. Consider too the paradox that insults often expose our hidden attachments. If someone calls you poor and you rage, it shows attachment to wealth. If someone calls you cowardly and you burn with anger, it shows attachment to honor. Insults act like probes, revealing where your ego still clings. Instead of rejecting this revelation, use it. Each sting points to an area where you have work to do. Silence is often the wisest response to insult. By answering nothing, you show that the words have no power. Retaliation gives life to the insult, while silence kills it. The crowd sees strength not in the loudest retort, but in the refusal to be moved. Epictetus taught that the insult dies not in the mouth of the speaker, but in the ears of the one who refuses to receive it. This practice does not mean becoming numb or passive. It means using every offense as material for virtue. If an insult is accurate, you gain self-knowledge. If it is false, you gain practice and endurance. If it reveals attachment, you gain direction for growth. In every case, the insult becomes insight. Modern psychology echoes this. Cognitive behavioral therapy, built partly on Stoic principles, teaches that events themselves do not disturb us, but our interpretation of them does. An insult is only a sound. It is the belief this harms me that causes pain. By changing interpretation, you change experience. The Stoics understood this centuries earlier. Reframing insult also dissolves the cycle of vengeance. Many feuds grow from small words exchanged in anger. A single insult answered with another multiplies until it becomes hatred. But the one who refuses to take offense ends the chain. They remove fuel from the fire. This is not weakness, but wisdom, ending conflict by denying it. Energy requires more strength than feeding it with pride. There is also an opportunity here to study human behavior. Insults often reveal more about the state of the insulter than about the target. A bitter person spreads bitterness. An insecure person attacks to hide weakness. By observing this, you learn compassion. Instead of anger, you may feel pity. Their insult is a confession of their own unrest. Recognizing this protects you from taking their words personally. The Stoics also connected this practice to the larger theme of justice. To respond to insult with insult is to mirror vice with vice. To remain calm is to practice virtue in the face of vice. This is how you remain just. Not because the world is just, but because you refuse to let the world make you unjust. Daily life offers endless chances to practice. A rude driver, a dismissive colleague, a sarcastic remark from a friend. All these moments are miniature tests. Instead of reacting, treat them as drills. Ask, what insight is hidden here? Where is the opportunity for patience, for humility, for self-examination? Each test passed strengthens the armor of the mind. This transformation of insult into insight requires humility. Pride resists correction. Pride insists on immediate defense. But humility welcomes truth even when wrapped in harshness. Humility says, if there is value here, I will take it. If not, I will let it pass. In both cases, I remain calm. Over time, this practice creates an unshakable stability. Words lose the power to move you like waves. You listen without fear. You endure without anger. You respond only when reason dictates. The one who has mastered insults has mastered themselves. They are no longer the puppet of every opinion, but the director of their own peace. And when others see this, they marvel. How can you stand calm while mocked? How can you smile while criticized? They expect retaliation, but you offer serenity. This confuses them, sometimes even disarms them. Insults wither when they find no soil in which to grow. In the end, the alchemy is complete. Insults once feared as poison become nourishment. Each offense is an opportunity to sharpen virtue, to uncover truth, to practice mastery. Epictetus knew that the world would never run out of people who mock, criticize, or belittle. But he also knew that with the right lens, those very people become unwitting teachers. So the next time harsh words are thrown at you, do not let them dictate your peace. Hold them in your hand like a stone. Study it, use it, and then set it down lighter than before. The insult has already served its purpose. It has trained you. When you learn to turn insults into insight, you rob others of their power over your peace. Words that once stung now become lessons, and criticism transforms into strength. Yet, there is another form of chaos that cannot be traced to the mouths of others. It comes from the pace of life itself. Modern living pulls you faster than your mind can process, faster than your body can rest. And when you lose alignment with natural rhythms, inner turmoil grows. The Stoics saw nature not only as the physical world around us, but also as the guiding order to which we belong. To ignore it is to live in conflict. To anchor yourself to it is to find calm. The cycles of nature are steady, patient, and unmoved by human urgency. The sun rises and sets without haste. Seasons come and go in their time. Rivers carve mountains not in days but in centuries. Contrast this with the human obsession for immediacy, instant messages, instant results, instant gratification. No wonder the mind feels restless. It is being pulled away from the cadence that shaped it. Grounding yourself in nature's rhythm is not retreat, but restoration. It dissolves the false urgency that noise creates and brings you back to a pace that life was meant to hold. One of the clearest ways to reconnect is through attention to daily cycles. Morning, noon, evening, night. Each has its role. The Stoics often wrote of beginning the day with reflection, aligning themselves with purpose before the noise began. Marcus Aurelius urged himself each morning to prepare for the challenges ahead, not to dread them, but to meet them with readiness. Starting the day with such alignment mirrors the rising of the sun, calm, deliberate, dependable. The evening then becomes a time of review, a settling of accounts, much like the sun setting and closing the day. These small rituals keep your life tethered to the larger order of time, reminding you that days are not random, but structured like chapters in a book. Anchoring to nature also means observing the slower rhythms of seasons. Just as trees shed leaves in autumn and blossom in spring, so too does human life have seasons. Times of growth, times of decline, times of rest. Much suffering comes from resisting these seasons demanding constant growth, constant productivity. But nature teaches balance. Winter is not failure, it is preparation. Spring is not permanent, it is a phase. By embracing these cycles, you stop fighting the natural ebb and flow of your own life. You allow rest without guilt, effort without desperation, patience without fear. Another rhythm worth reclaiming is the breath. It is the most immediate connection between body and nature. In turbulence, breathing becomes shallow, erratic, panicked. By returning to slow, steady breaths, you signal to the body that it is safe and the mind follows. Stoics practice breath awareness not as mysticism, but as discipline, a way of anchoring to something constant when the world outside felt chaotic. Each breath is a reminder that life is not a sprint, but a rhythm. Inhale, exhale, again and again. Nature's rhythm also teaches impermanence. Day turns to night, winter to spring, growth to decay. Nothing stays fixed. And yet the cycle continues. By aligning with this, you free yourself from clinging. You accept that joy will pass, but so will pain. You accept that loss is part of the cycle, not a violation of it. This acceptance dissolves much of the anxiety that arises from wanting to freeze life in its most pleasant moments. Connection to nature also shrinks the ego. Standing beneath a night sky filled with stars, watching waves crash endlessly, or listening to winds sweep across trees places your worries into perspective. What seemed unbearable in your personal life becomes small against the vastness of natural order. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to take the view from above, picturing human affairs as tiny when compared to the cosmos. This is not to minimize suffering, but to reframe it in a scale that brings humility and calm. Grounding yourself in nature does not require wilderness. Even in cities, the sky remains. Even in noise, there are moments of stillness if you choose to seek them. Watching the clouds, feeling the breeze, or sitting in sunlight are simple acts that draw you back into the larger rhythm. The key is attention. Nature is always present, but its calming rhythm is only felt when noticed. There is also a moral dimension to aligning with natural order. For the Stoics, to live according to nature meant to live according to reason and virtue, since they believed reason was the highest gift nature gave humanity. Thus, returning to natural rhythm is not only about syncing with external cycles, but also about living in harmony with your own rational nature. When your actions contradict reason, when you pursue excess, when you ignore wisdom, you live against the grain of nature and chaos grows within. Another layer of practice lies in aligning work with natural flow. Endless striving without rest leads to exhaustion. But when you structure effort like a field, plowed, planted, harvested, then allowed to rest, you gain both productivity and renewal. The seasons of agriculture mirror the seasons of human labor. Ignoring this rhythm creates burnout. Respecting it sustains you. Anchoring to natural cycles also teaches patience. Seeds do not sprout overnight, nor do rivers carve valleys in a year. Growth takes time. Many anxieties stem from expecting life to move faster than it does. But when you align with the slower, patient rhythm of nature, you accept process. You stop forcing outcomes and begin trusting time. This alignment is not passive. It does not mean abandoning effort, but synchronizing effort with reality. A farmer works hard, but not by fighting the seasons. He works with them. Likewise in life, wisdom lies not in demanding constant harvest, but in knowing when to sow, when to wait, and when to reap. There is also resilience in natural anchoring. Storms come, branches break, rivers flood. Yet nature absorbs shock, adapts, and continues. By grounding yourself in this rhythm, you learn to do the same. Chaos is no longer something to resist, but something to flow through, knowing it is part of the larger order. Even solitude gains power through nature. To sit in quiet away from distraction is not emptiness, but restoration. The Stoics often withdrew into silence with the backdrop of nature to strengthen their inner fortress. Solitude in natural rhythm is different from loneliness. It is the feeling of returning to your origin where noise cannot reach you. Science today confirms what Stoics sensed. Time in nature reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, improves focus. Even brief exposure, walking among trees, hearing birds restores calm. This is not mere preference. It is biology. Human beings evolved in rhythm with natural cycles, and disconnection creates distress. Reconnection heals. By grounding yourself in nature's rhythm, you reclaim balance in a world that demands haste. You begin to live with steadiness, patience, and humility. Chaos no longer feels overwhelming because you are no longer rushing against the tide of existence. You are flowing with it. In this way, anchoring to nature is more than therapy. It is philosophy lived daily. It is the choice to find order not in controlling events, but in aligning with the greater order already present. When you walk in step with nature, you find calm. Not because chaos disappears, but because chaos itself is seen as part of the rhythm. When life is lived in rhythm with nature, perspective expands. What once felt urgent is softened by the steady movement of sun, moon, and seasons. You begin to see that storms pass, winters end, and every cycle brings renewal. But even with this awareness, the mind has a tendency to exaggerate its troubles. A small delay feels catastrophic. A single harsh word feels like a crisis. A change in plans feels like the end of control. This distortion magnifies ordinary difficulties into unbearable burdens. The Stoics understood that much suffering does not come from events themselves, but from the importance we attach to them. The art, then, is to learn how to shrink what the mind inflates to reduce the perceived weight of problems until they are light enough to carry. The human mind is skilled at creating catastrophe out of inconvenience. A late train becomes a ruined day. A critical comment becomes a permanent judgment. An unexpected bill becomes a life-ending disaster. In reality, these events are minor, but in the imagination, they grow until they seem insurmountable. The Stoics trained themselves to cut these distortions down to size. They reminded themselves constantly, "This is smaller than it feels, and I am larger than I think." The practice of diminishing importance begins with naming the distortion. When faced with difficulty, ask, what is the true scale of this problem? Will it matter in an hour, in a week, in a year? Often the honest answer is no. Seneca taught that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. By bringing the mind back to proportion, you dissolve half the burden instantly. This discipline also requires distinguishing between inconvenience and catastrophe. True catastrophe is rare. Loss of life, deep illness, irreversible harm. Most of what we call catastrophe is delay, discomfort, or disappointment. The ability to call an inconvenience by its proper name prevents the mind from turning every difficulty into tragedy. Epictetus advised his students to examine every impression carefully to strip away the exaggeration and see events as they truly are. Another technique is comparison. Place your difficulty beside greater challenges. A missed opportunity may sting, but compared to famine or exile, it is small. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the universe is vast and human troubles are brief flickers within it. This perspective does not trivialize pain, but restores proportion. By comparing, you learn gratitude for what has not been lost and resilience for what has been. Diminishing importance also involves humor. To laugh at trouble is to shrink it instantly. Humor exposes the absurdity of many of our exaggerated fears. A long line, a broken appliance, a rude stranger. These are easier to bear when treated as comedy rather than calamity. The Stoics themselves use irony and wit as tools of philosophy, not to escape pain, but to reframe it. This practice does not mean denial. You do not pretend problems do not exist. Instead, you consciously reduce their power by placing them in proper context. A stone in your shoe hurts, but it is not the collapse of the world. By practicing this shift daily, the mind becomes trained to see proportion naturally without effort. Another way to train this discipline is to recall past hardships. Think of times when you were convinced the world was ending. An exam, a breakup, a failure. With time, those events now seem small, even laughable. This memory teaches that today's crisis will likely shrink in the same way. Time itself diminishes importance. But you can practice anticipating that perspective now, instead of waiting years for it to arrive. There is also strength in language. The words you use shape perception. To say this is unbearable makes it heavier. To say this is inconvenient makes it lighter. The Stoics practiced careful use of words, stripping away dramatization. Replace disaster with setback, ruin with delay, catastrophe with difficulty. By altering words, you alter the weight of experience. The art of diminishing importance also trains emotional endurance. By treating difficulties as small, you build tolerance. What once triggered rage or despair becomes a simple test of patience. Over time, the threshold of what disturbs you rises. Minor insults, minor losses, minor failures lose their ability to shake you. This rising threshold is a form of strength built not by eliminating problems, but by reducing their significance. In daily life, this practice can be applied constantly. When waiting in traffic, remind yourself this is time, not torture. When dealing with criticism, remind yourself these are words, not wounds. When facing rejection, remind yourself this is one closed door among many. Each reframing shrinks the problem until it fits within your control. The Stoics also taught that many so-called catastrophes are simply unmet expectations. We expect smooth paths, and when life bends, we call it disaster. But by lowering expectation and expanding acceptance, importance shrinks. If you expect difficulty, the presence of it no longer feels catastrophic. It is simply part of the path. Modern psychology mirrors this wisdom in practices like cognitive reframing, where people are taught to reinterpret events in less catastrophic ways. Studies show that those who habitually reduce importance suffer less stress, recover faster from setbacks, and maintain steadier moods. What Stoics practiced as philosophy, science now confirms as resilience. Another benefit is freedom from manipulation. Many institutions, from politics to marketing, thrive on magnifying importance. They convince you that every event is urgent, every problem catastrophic. By practicing this Stoic art, you see through exaggeration. You recognize that not every alarm requires panic. Not every demand deserves urgency. This protects your calm and your focus. Diminishing importance also nurtures gratitude. When you see a difficulty as small, you naturally turn attention to what is still intact. A missed train becomes less tragic when you notice the gift of time to read. A broken phone becomes less catastrophic when you realize you still have health, family, and freedom. By shrinking the weight of loss, you enlarge the value of what remains. This discipline prepares you for true hardship as well. By regularly shrinking minor troubles, you conserve emotional strength for real trials. If every inconvenience drains you, you will collapse under greater burdens. But if you practice lightening small weights, you preserve strength for heavier ones. This is how the mind becomes resilient, trained in proportion. The practice also reveals how often we attach importance to ego rather than reality. Insults feel catastrophic because pride is wounded. Failures feel unbearable because reputation is threatened. By diminishing importance, you weaken the grip of ego. You realize that reputation, wealth, and approval are not as heavy as the mind makes them. What matters is virtue, which remains untouched. This perspective does not eliminate effort. You still address problems, still work for solutions, but without panic. To treat an inconvenience as manageable does not mean ignoring it. It means handling it with calm instead of despair. Solutions come more easily when the mind is not overwhelmed by exaggerated importance. There is also liberation in learning to laugh at yourself. Much of what we call catastrophe comes from fear of embarrassment or failure. By treating these lightly, you shrink them instantly. What others see as humiliation can be reframed as experience. This lightness makes you untouchable because nothing small can weigh you down. In the end, the art of diminishing importance is about proportion, clarity, and perspective. Life will always bring difficulty, but most of it is smaller than it feels. By training the mind to shrink problems, you release energy for what truly matters. You walk lighter, freer, calmer. When practiced daily, this discipline becomes second nature. You no longer panic at every turn. You respond with steadiness. Catastrophes become inconveniences. Inconveniences become nothing, and what once crushed you becomes material for growth. This is not denial, but mastery. The ability to see life as it is, not as fear inflates it. And when others crumble under small troubles, you remain unshaken. Not because you suffer less, but because you have learned to measure suffering accurately. By refusing to let every challenge become a catastrophe, you create room for peace in the very heart of chaos. When you train the mind to shrink problems down to their true size, you gain a kind of inner lightness. Events that once felt like walls become small stones on the path. But the Stoics did not stop at reducing importance. They also practiced a radical shift of perspective, one that lifted them entirely out of the narrow focus of personal life. This was the practice they called the view from above, a way of seeing existence not through the eyes of the self alone, but through the lens of the cosmos itself. It was a discipline of stepping outside the tiny stage of individual concerns and seeing life in the scale of the universe. The mind is easily trapped in the small circle of its own concerns. A missed opportunity feels like the end of the world because the mind confuses personal loss with universal catastrophe. But when you rise above, when you expand vision beyond your small circle, you realize the storm is smaller than it seemed. This shift is not an escape into fantasy, but a deliberate act of scaling. By looking at life from a higher altitude, you regain proportion, humility, and calm. Marcus Aurelius practiced this often. He would remind himself to look down on human affairs as though from a height seen from above. Armies, cities, and disputes shrink into patterns, no longer overwhelming, but part of a larger flow. What felt unbearable in the immediacy of the moment dissolved when placed against the vastness of time and space. The exercise was not detachment in the sense of indifference, but liberation from narrowness. The view from above works because the mind's suffering grows in small spaces. Locked inside the immediate problems loom large. But when you step back, when you rise mentally beyond your body, your city, your nation, even your era, you see how small personal chaos is in the sweep of existence. The bills, the quarrels, the missed chances, all these shrink against the scale of planets and centuries. The mind stretched to cosmic size no longer breaks under daily weight. The practice can be approached gradually. First, picture yourself rising above your body. See your current troubles as if they were scenes in a room below you. Then expand further. Rise above your street, your city, your country, until your life is no more than a dot on a map. Push higher still until the entire earth is beneath you, with billions of lives, each carrying their own burdens. Higher again until Earth itself is only a pale sphere suspended in space. At each stage, notice how your troubles shrink, not in reality, but in your perception. The change in scale alters the emotional weight you give them. This is not meant to deny the reality of hardship. Pain is real, loss is real, but the view from above reframes them. It shows that personal chaos, though sharp in the moment, is part of a larger rhythm. You are not singled out for disaster. You are participating in the same cycles that every human before you has faced. Perspective dissolves the illusion of uniqueness and suffering and replaces it with solidarity. The practice also dissolves arrogance. When seen from above, achievements and failures both shrink. The monuments of emperors, the noise of politics, the arguments of families, all collapse into silence when viewed from the scale of centuries. This does not make effort meaningless. Instead, it directs effort to what truly matters, living with virtue, because that is the only thing that holds weight when stripped of time's illusions. There is humility in this perspective. The human tendency is to treat personal concerns as the center of existence. But the view from above reveals that the universe is vast and we are brief travelers within it. This realization is not meant to crush the spirit, but to free it. You are not the master of the cosmos, and therefore you are not responsible for carrying its weight. Your task is smaller, but no less noble, to live your part well within the play of nature. Anchoring yourself to this cosmic view also softens the grip of anxiety. Worry thrives in confinement. In a narrow frame, problems feel absolute, but widened to cosmic scale, they lose their suffocating force. The missed job, the harsh word, the broken plans seen from the vantage of centuries and stars, they become manageable, even trivial. This cognitive stretching reduces the urgency of fear and restores balance. There is also a spiritual richness in the practice. To view life from above is to touch wonder. The vastness of the cosmos, the order of stars, the cycles of nature, all remind you that you are part of something larger than yourself. This awareness dissolves loneliness and replaces it with belonging. You are not a solitary fragment. You are woven into the fabric of existence. The Stoics also use this practice to cultivate justice. By seeing from above, you recognize that others too are small parts of the same whole. Their mistakes, their insults, their flaws lose some of their sting when seen against the larger order. You realize that each person struggles within their tiny sphere, just as you do. Compassion grows naturally when you place yourself and others within the same cosmic frame. This perspective also tempers ambition. Chasing recognition feels hollow when viewed from above. The applause of a city is nothing when placed against the silence of galaxies. The pursuit of fame, of wealth, of endless possessions shrinks to triviality when measured against the brevity of life. What remains meaningful is not how loudly you are celebrated, but how well you live in accordance with virtue. The view from above is not only about scale, but also about time. Consider how brief even the longest life is compared to eternity. Empires rise and fall, names once shouted fade to dust, and yet the cycles continue. To grasp this is to free yourself from panic over your timeline. You stop rushing as if everything depends on today, and you start living with steadiness, knowing that your place in time is small but sacred. There is practical strength in this practice as well. In the midst of daily stress, arguments, deadlines, rejections, you can pause and mentally step back. Ask yourself, how will this matter in the context of years of centuries of the universe itself? That pause often shrinks the weight of the moment, allowing reason to return. What once consumed you reveals itself as small. Another dimension of the practice is gratitude. When seen from above, even the smallest joys gain significance. A meal, a conversation, a moment of laughter, all become precious against the backdrop of the vast, indifferent cosmos. Knowing your time is limited and your place is small makes each ordinary moment shine brighter. The Stoics also linked this practice to mortality. To see life from above is to see its fragility and brevity. Death loses some of its terror when understood as part of the larger rhythm. You are not being singled out. You are participating in the same cycle as every creature. This perspective does not diminish life. It deepens it. You treasure your time more because you see its place in the whole. Science today echoes these effects. Astronauts often speak of the overview effect, a profound shift in perspective when seeing Earth from space. Borders vanish, conflicts seem absurd, and a sense of unity arises. The Stoic view from above is an ancient version of the same insight available not by rocket, but by disciplined imagination. This exercise can be integrated into daily reflection. Begin by catching yourself in moments of agitation. Step back mentally. Rise higher in perspective until the event shrinks. Practice this repeatedly, and the mind becomes trained to expand automatically. Over time, the habit of cosmic perspective becomes a source of unshakable calm. The power of this discipline lies in its ability to dissolve false magnitude. Problems that once towered over you are cut down to size by the scale of the universe. Ambitions that once enslaved you lose their glamour when seen against eternity. The mind freed from narrowness gains a balance that chaos cannot shake. When this perspective becomes part of you, others will notice your calm. They will wonder how you stay composed when storms rise. The truth is that you are not trapped within the storm. You have stepped above it. From that height, you see not just chaos, but order. Not just loss, but belonging. Not just fear, but perspective. This is the essence of the Stoic view from above. The deliberate act of lifting the mind to cosmic scale so that personal chaos dissolves into proportion. It is a reminder that you are both small and significant, brief yet part of eternity, fragile yet capable of virtue. By practicing this shift, you find peace not because the world changes, but because you have learned to see it from the height where calm always resides. When the mind learns to rise above daily noise and view life against the vast backdrop of the cosmos, personal troubles lose their exaggerated weight. Yet, there remains an even sharper tool for cutting away false importance: the awareness that your time is limited. Nothing brings priorities into focus more clearly than remembering that every day could be your last. The Stoics called this memento mori, a reminder of death not meant to paralyze but to awaken. To live as if already dead is not despair but freedom. It strips away hesitation. It silences trivial anxieties, and it teaches you to spend your time with precision rather than waste. The fear of death haunts many, though most rarely confronted directly. Instead, they push it aside, live as if endless days are guaranteed, and scatter their attention across distractions. But the one who trains the mind on mortality does not run from it. They meet it head-on and transform it into a guide. When you accept that your time is finite, every moment gains value. What once felt ordinary becomes urgent with meaning, and what once consumed energy, petty worries, shallow disputes, meaningless ambitions, loses appeal. Seneca wrote that it is not that life is short, but that much of it is wasted. He warned that people guard their money with great care, yet squander their time as if it were worthless. To live as if already dead means recognizing that time is your most precious possession, far greater than wealth or recognition. Death may not arrive today, but the possibility that it could should shape how you choose to spend today. This practice is not about dwelling in gloom. It is about clarity. When you remember mortality, priorities sharpen. You stop delaying important conversations. You stop putting off what you know matters. You stop sacrificing meaning for distraction. Death reminds you that you do not own endless tomorrows and that the only time truly yours is the present. One of the deepest freedoms this awareness brings is the elimination of trivial anxieties. Many fears dissolve when held against the certainty of death. Embarrassment, rejection, reputation. These lose their grip when you remind yourself that all will fade. The harsh judgment of others is temporary, but so is their praise. Why then live enslaved to opinions that will not outlast even the century? Mortality strips away illusion, leaving only what is essential. Living as if already dead also reshapes ambition. Endless accumulation of wealth or fame loses its glamour when viewed through the lens of death. What matters is not how loudly you are remembered, but how honestly you lived. To measure your success by virtue rather than trophies is the Stoic way of aligning ambition with mortality. The grave levels, emperors and peasants alike. Only character distinguishes one life from another. Another benefit of this practice is courage. Many choices are avoided out of fear. Fear of failure, a loss, of judgment. But death places all these fears in perspective. If you are already mortal, what greater risk remains? The courage to act comes naturally when you remember that hesitation does not preserve life, but only wastes it. Better to fail honestly in action than to succeed in nothing through endless delay. This mindset also reshapes relationships. When you remember that those around you too are mortal, you treat them with greater tenderness. Harsh words lose appeal when you realize they could be the last exchanged. Small kindnesses grow in importance when you recognize how brief your time together may be. Death makes every connection urgent with meaning, stripping away neglect and replacing it with presence. Memento mori also teaches acceptance. Many resist the idea of death, clinging to denial and creating anxiety by pretending it can be avoided. But by facing it directly, you release fear's grip. Acceptance does not remove sadness, but it removes surprise. You live prepared, and in that preparation, you live more freely. Epictetus reminded his students to kiss their loved ones while silently acknowledging you may not return. Far from morbid, this made affection deeper and gratitude richer. To live as if already dead also means to live without debt to the future. Many people postpone life, telling themselves they will start living after retirement, after success, after stability. But death exposes this illusion. If you were already dead, tomorrow would not be yours. Therefore, living fully today is not indulgence. It is wisdom. There is discipline in using mortality as a filter. When faced with decisions, ask, if I were to die tomorrow, would this still matter? If the answer is no, release it. This filter removes trivial pursuits and focuses attention on what carries weight, acts of virtue, bonds of love, and the pursuit of wisdom. Modern psychology affirms this Stoic principle. Research on terror management theory shows that awareness of death can cause anxiety if avoided. But when embraced, it leads to deeper purpose, stronger values, and greater gratitude. People who reflect on mortality often live with clearer goals and less attachment to material distractions. Practicing memento mori does not require dramatic gestures. It begins with small reminders. Reflect daily that this sunrise may be your last. This conversation may not return. This task may be your final act. These reminders are not meant to depress, but to ignite urgency. Every repetition strengthens the habit of prioritizing meaning over noise. This practice also fosters forgiveness. Grudges lose power when viewed in the light of mortality. If both you and your opponent are brief travelers toward the same end, why waste precious time in bitterness? To release anger is not to excuse harm, but to reclaim time from the grip of resentment. Death makes reconciliation urgent because tomorrow is not promised. Living as if already dead also deepens gratitude for simple things. A meal, a walk, a conversation, a quiet evening. These ordinary moments become treasures when viewed as possibly final. Gratitude grows not from abundance, but from awareness of fragility. Mortality sharpens appreciation in a way that comfort never can. Another effect of this practice is the strengthening of discipline. When you treat each day as your last, indulgence loses its seduction. Overdrinking, wasting hours in distraction. These become less appealing when measured against the reality that time is precious. Discipline becomes not punishment, but respect for the limited gift of life. This awareness also builds a resilience. If you live prepared for death, lesser hardships cannot overwhelm you. Loss of wealth, of comfort, of approval, or small when compared to the inevitability of mortality. When the greatest fear is embraced, lesser fears dissolve. This resilience is not coldness, but strength rooted in perspective. Memento mori also connects you to humanity as a whole. Every person shares the same fate regardless of power, wealth, or status. Death erases the illusions of hierarchy, reminding you that all are equal in nature. This recognition can dissolve envy and pride, cultivating humility and compassion. The practice can be woven into daily journaling. At the end of the day, reflect. If this had been my last, did I spend it wisely? If not, what would I change? These reflections sharpen tomorrow's choices. Over time, the habit of living as if already dead produces a life filled not with fear, but with clarity. In turbulent times, when chaos makes people cling harder to control, the Stoic reminder of mortality provides calm. If death itself cannot be avoided, then lesser storms lose their power to terrify. You meet them with perspective. They may shake comfort, but they cannot steal the acceptance you have already made. To live as if already dead is to live with urgency, clarity, and freedom. You stop scattering your time and begin spending it with care. You stop fearing opinions and begin acting with honesty. You stop postponing meaning and begin embracing it now. Death, once seen as an enemy, becomes a guide pointing to what matters most. When this awareness becomes part of you, anxiety fades. You no longer tremble at small losses or shallow fears. You live with eyes open, aware that the clock is always ticking, and that truth makes every moment precious. Memento mori is not a shadow, but a light showing the path to a life free of trivial worries and full of deliberate purpose. When the mind learns to live with the awareness of death, time itself becomes sharper, cleaner, more urgent. Memento mori strips away illusions of endless tomorrows and forces you to see the value of today. But there is a related exercise that goes further, one that digs deeper into your attachments and exposes the roots of anxiety: the practice of negative visualization. Instead of only remembering that you will die, you deliberately ask what it would mean to lose the things and people you hold most dear. Far from making life darker, this discipline fills it with gratitude and calm. Because by rehearsing loss, you awaken to the value of what remains. Most people avoid these thoughts, fearing they are too painful. Yet the Stoics insisted this practice was essential. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius all spoke of meditating on potential loss as a way to prepare the mind. The purpose was never to torment, but to strengthen. If you rehearse hardship in thought, you are less broken when it arrives in reality. More importantly, you live with deeper joy while you still have what could one day be gone. Negative visualization begins by acknowledging the fragility of everything around you. Health can vanish with a diagnosis. Wealth can disappear with a market crash. Loved ones can be taken without warning. To ignore this truth is to live unprepared. To face it honestly is to turn every ordinary moment into a treasure. The exercise can be as simple as pausing to consider, what if I lost my sight tomorrow? How precious would today's colors, faces, and landscapes appear? What if I lost the ability to walk? How priceless would today's simple steps feel? What if this meal, this conversation, this evening was the last? Suddenly, ordinary moments are charged with meaning. Gratitude becomes not an abstract virtue, but a lived experience. This practice also dismantles entitlement. Much suffering arises from the belief that we deserve what we have forever. Negative visualization corrects this illusion. Nothing is guaranteed and nothing is owed. By recognizing this, you stop demanding permanence and start appreciating presence. Entitlement is replaced with gratitude, and gratitude is the soil of peace. There is also resilience in this practice. When loss eventually comes, as it always does, you are not destroyed by shock. You grieve, yes, but you do not collapse because you have rehearsed the possibility in thought. Epictetus taught that when you kiss your child or friend, remind yourself they are mortal, that they could be gone tomorrow. This reminder does not diminish love. It deepens it. You love more fiercely because you know the time is not endless. The practice also extends to possessions. Ask yourself, what if this house burned? What if this job ended? What if this comfort was removed? By rehearsing loss, you free yourself from dependence. You enjoy what you have, but you are not enslaved by it. This detachment does not make you cold. It makes you flexible, able to adapt when life changes. Negative visualization also transforms how you handle annoyance. A delayed train, a broken phone, a spilled drink. These seem small disasters when you expect permanence. But if you practice imagining greater losses, minor troubles lose their sting. Gratitude for what remains softens the frustration. The broken phone matters less when you remember that you still have your health, your breath, your life. This discipline is a form of mental vaccination. Just as a small dose of a virus prepares the body for greater exposure, rehearsing small losses prepares the mind for real ones. You build tolerance to grief in controlled doses so that when true grief comes, you are steadier. This preparation does not remove pain, but prevents collapse. Negative visualization also clears priorities. When you rehearse losing what you take for granted, you discover what truly matters. Arguments seem less urgent, grudges less worthy, distractions less appealing. You focus on nurturing what could one day vanish: love, friendship, kindness, wisdom. Trivial pursuits fade in the shadow of potential loss. Another dimension of the practice is its ability to dissolve fear of the future. Many anxieties come from dread of possible loss. By deliberately confronting these losses in thought, You strip them of terror. You stop hiding from possibilities and meet them directly. Fear shrinks when faced head-on. This practice is also tied to gratitude in the present. When you imagine the absence of something, its presence glows brighter. Food tastes richer when you picture hunger. A hug feels deeper when you reflect on separation. Even ordinary days feel extraordinary when you remember they could end at any time. The Stoics knew that luxury dulls appreciation. The more abundance you have, the more you take for granted. Negative visualization restores appreciation by stripping away the illusion of permanence. It turns every meal into a feast, every friendship into a miracle, every breath into a gift. In daily practice, this can be integrated quietly. As you drink water, reflect that many do not have it. As you walk, recall that one day you may not. As you sit with a friend, remind yourself this moment is finite. These reflections deepen gratitude without needing dramatic gestures. Modern psychology again affirms this wisdom. Research shows that people who reflect on impermanence report greater happiness and less anxiety. Far from making life bleak, these reminders heighten joy. By imagining absence, presence becomes sweeter. This discipline also prevents greed. When you rehearse losing what you already have, you stop chasing endlessly for more. You realize abundance is not in adding possessions, but in appreciating the ones already present. Contentment grows not from gain, but from awareness of fragility. There is also humility in this exercise. By reflecting on loss, you accept that you are not exempt from life cycles. Others lose health, wealth, loved ones, and so will you. This shared vulnerability dissolves arrogance and builds compassion. You see yourself in others, grief, and them in yours. Another strength of the practice is its ability to calm anger. When someone provokes you, reflect. If they were gone tomorrow, would this anger matter? Almost always the answer is no. This awareness shortens grudges and replaces rage with patience. Death and loss shrink the importance of petty conflicts. Negative visualization can also improve discipline. When you picture losing your health, the urge to squander it through excess weakens. When you reflect on the fragility of life, wasting time on trivial pursuits feels foolish. The practice sharpens choices, reminding you that every action spends part of your limited existence. This exercise also trains presence. When you picture losing a moment, you engage with it fully while it exists. You stop dividing attention, stop rushing, stop living half-heartedly. You give yourself completely to the now because you know it may not return. In turbulent times, negative visualization acts as an anchor when chaos surrounds you. Reflecting on impermanence helps you separate true loss from exaggerated inconvenience. It keeps you calm by reminding you that even loss itself is part of life's rhythm, not a violation of it. To live this practice deeply is to walk through life awake. Awake to the gift of breath. Awake to the gift of connection. Awake to the truth of fragility. Each day becomes sharper, not because it is free of pain, but because it is filled with meaning. By harnessing, "What if I lost this?" you transform fear into gratitude and anxiety into calm. You stop clinging desperately and begin cherishing freely. Loss rehearsed in thought becomes love practiced in life. And when real loss comes, as it always will, you meet it not as a stranger, but as something you have trained for. The grief will hurt, but you will not be broken because you already know that every gift was borrowed, every joy was fragile, and every day was a treasure. Negative visualization teaches not how to avoid loss, but how to live so fully that even loss cannot erase the peace within. By rehearsing the possibility of loss, the mind learns to love more deeply and cling less desperately. Negative visualization trains gratitude in the present and resilience for the future. Yet there is another step beyond gratitude and preparation, one that strikes at the root of disturbance itself. The Stoics believed true power lay not in resisting events, but in reaching a state where events no longer dictated your inner state. They called this apatheia, not apathy in the modern sense of numbness, but a disciplined calm, a deep equanimity that makes chaos irrelevant. To understand this idea, you must first recognize how most suffering begins. It is not the event itself, but the emotional storm that follows it. Loss, insult, delay, failure, all of these disturb only because the mind grants them the power to disturb. Apatheia is the condition of withdrawing that power. It is not the absence of feeling, but the mastery of feeling. It is the state in which emotion arises but does not command, where reason governs even in the midst of turbulence. The Stoics never claimed that events are painless, hunger hurts, betrayal cuts, death wounds. But they taught that while the body may suffer, the mind can remain unbroken. The discipline of indifference is not denial of pain, but refusal to let pain define you. This is why they distinguish between externals and internals. Externals, wealth, health, reputation, fortune are beyond your control. Internals, judgment, will, character are yours entirely. To attach your peace to externals is to surrender power. To anchor it in internals is to reclaim sovereignty. Indifference, then, is a form of liberation. When you no longer require wealth, no thief can make you poor. When you no longer depend on praise, no insult can shame you. When you no longer demand ease, no hardship can break you. By withdrawing importance from what lies outside your control, you gain invulnerability within what lies inside it. This does not mean you become detached from life or withdraw from action. The Stoics were active in politics, in leadership, in teaching, but they acted with clarity. Outcomes may shift, fortune may turn, but their own virtue remained theirs. To work with all effort, yet remain indifferent to results, is to possess unshakable calm. Cultivating this discipline begins with constant examination. Each time you feel disturbed, ask, is this within my control? If not, why give it power over me? This question itself is a weapon. It cuts through the illusion of necessity, reminding you that much of what agitates you is irrelevant to your true self. Apatheia is also the antidote to manipulation. Others try to control you through promise or threat, offering rewards or warning of punishment. But if you are indifferent to external gain or loss, these tools lose their grip. The person who cannot be bribed with praise or threatened with pain is the freest of all. The discipline also changes how you view success. In ordinary thinking, success is external: wealth, recognition, victory. But in Stoic thinking, success is internal, remaining virtuous regardless of outcome. If you act with integrity in defeat, you succeed. If you abandon virtue in victory, you fail. Indifference to external definitions of success liberates you to live by higher standards. This state of equanimity does not arrive instantly. It requires repeated practice, small choices each day. Begin by treating minor inconveniences with indifference. Rain on a planned day, delay in a line, a careless word. These become exercises in apatheia. Each time you refuse to be shaken, you strengthen the muscle of equanimity. With practice, larger storms meet the same calm. Indifference also requires clarity about value. The Stoics divided things into good, bad, and indifferent. Virtue alone is good, vice alone is bad, everything else indifferent. Health, wealth, comfort, reputation, all are preferred but not essential. Illness, poverty, discomfort, disgrace, all are dispreferred but not destructive. By holding to this framework, you prevent externals from dominating judgment. There is subtlety here. To call something indifferent does not mean it is meaningless. Health is better than illness, wealth more useful than poverty. But neither defines your worth. Their presence or absence changes circumstance, not character. Apatheia is the art of remembering this distinction at all times. The power of this discipline shines most in crisis. When fortune collapses, those attached to externals collapse with it. But the one anchored in apatheia remains upright because what truly matters was never lost. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by plague, betrayal, and war, wrote of the inner citadel, a fortress of calm no chaos could breach. That fortress was built on indifference to all that lay beyond his control. Modern psychology reflects this in the concept of acceptance-based therapies, where peace is found not in fighting reality but in choosing response. Research shows that those who accept events without clinging or resisting suffer less stress, recover faster, and remain more resilient. The Stoic version, however, goes further. It trains not just acceptance but equanimity, a positive calm in the face of turbulence. Indifference also reshapes relationships. When you stop demanding that others behave as you wish, you release frustration. You love without conditions because you know their choices are not yours to control. This does not weaken bonds. It strengthens them. Love grounded in control suffocates. Love grounded in freedom endures. Another gift of apatheia is freedom from fear of loss. If you have already accepted that externals are indifferent, their removal cannot destroy you. This does not mean you do not care, but that you are not enslaved. You can grieve, but you do not collapse. You can lose, but you remain yourself. The discipline also prevents vanity. Praise and blame lose their chains when you are indifferent to reputation. You act for virtue, not for approval. This steadiness allows you to live honestly, unshaken by shifting opinion. Indifference paradoxically increases effectiveness. When you are not anxious about outcomes, you act with greater clarity. Fear of failure paralyzes, but indifference to failure frees. You pursue excellence because it is right, not because it guarantees recognition. This purity of motive sharpens both effort and peace. Apatha is not emptiness, but fullness. It is not that you feel nothing, but that you are no longer ruled by feelings. Emotions arise, but they pass like clouds, leaving reason intact. This stability is strength, and this strength is freedom. To live with indifference as power is to walk through chaos unbroken. Fires may burn, storms may rage, but within calm remains. Not because life is easy, but because you no longer grant externals the authority to define you. Virtue is yours, and that is enough. Through this discipline, chaos itself becomes irrelevant. You act, you endure, you live in accordance with reason, and whatever happens outside, your peace remains untouched. This is the Stoic promise of apatheia, not cold detachment, but invincible calm. When equanimity is cultivated, the storms of life lose their grip. You learn that outcomes, opinions, and externals cannot dictate the state of your soul. Yet even this inner fortress depends on something often overlooked: the body. The Stoics knew that mind and body are not separate kingdoms. If the body is restless, the mind struggles to remain steady. If the body is weak or undisciplined, the will falters. To command yourself inwardly, you must also command yourself outwardly. Sovereignty of the spirit begins with discipline of the body. Posture, breath, and stillness were not trivial matters for the Stoics. They understood that how you carry yourself shapes how you think. A bent posture signals defeat to the mind, while an upright stance affirms strength. Breath that is shallow feeds anxiety, while breath that is slow restores calm. Stillness in the body calms turbulence in thought. By mastering these physical disciplines, you reinforce the authority of reason over impulse, composure over chaos. Posture is the first point of command. The body broadcasts messages to the mind. Slumped shoulders, lowered gaze, and collapsed stance feed feelings of despair or submission. In contrast, standing tall with chest open and spine aligned communicates resilience not only to others, but also to yourself. Modern psychology calls this embodied cognition, the idea that body and mind influence one another. The Stoics knew it through observation. To carry yourself with dignity is to remind the mind of its dignity. Breath is the second pillar. When fear rises, breath becomes shallow, rapid, uncontrolled. But by slowing breath, by drawing it deep into the lungs and releasing it steadily, you take control of the nervous system itself. The Stoics practiced this not as ritual, but as preparation. In moments of anger or fear, mastering breath meant mastering the storm. Science confirms that slow breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, calming heart rate and lowering stress. The Stoics called it reason in the body. Stillness completes the triad. Agitation in the body feeds agitation in the mind. Fidgeting, pacing, restless movements are symptoms of inner unrest. To practice stillness is to teach yourself patience, to remain unmoved even while the world stirs around you. Marcus Aurelius often wrote of sitting in stillness, withdrawing into the inner citadel, where movement ceased and reflection deepened. Stillness is not idleness, but strength contained. This discipline extends to endurance. The body trained in hardship prepares the mind for hardship. Exposure to cold, fasting, physical exertion. These were not punishments, but exercises in sovereignty. When the body learns it can endure, the mind follows. When the body remains steady under stress, the mind is less tempted to collapse. There is also a moral lesson in bodily discipline. The person who cannot command posture, breath, or stillness often struggles to command speech, action, and thought. Disorder in the body often mirrors disorder in the soul, but one who trains bodily discipline builds alignment. Body supports mind, mind supports virtue. This practice is not about vanity. It is not the sculpted body that matters, but the obedient one. A body ruled by appetite enslaves the will. A body trained in discipline serves it. The Stoics valued strength not for appearance, but for utility, to carry burdens, to withstand hardship, to reflect steadiness. Control of the body also protects against manipulation. Those who master breath resist panic in crowds. Those who practice stillness resist provocation. Those who command posture radiate authority without words. These qualities disarm chaos because they embody calmness outwardly as well as inwardly. Another benefit of bodily discipline is clarity. A restless body distracts the mind, but a body trained in stillness clears space for thought. Breath that is steady creates rhythm for reflection. Posture that is upright creates alertness for reason. These small acts of control become the foundation for larger acts of wisdom. Daily life offers constant chances to practice. Waiting in line, you can train posture. Facing criticism, you can master breath. Sitting in conflict, you can hold stillness. Each moment becomes an exercise in sovereignty, a rehearsal for greater trials. The Stoics believed that philosophy was not only written in words, but inscribed in flesh. How you walked, how you sat, how you breathed, all testified to the state of your soul. To practice bodily discipline was to embody philosophy, to make it visible and real. In turbulent times, this practice becomes a shield. Panic spreads quickly when bodies show panic, but the one who stands upright, breathes calmly, and remains still radiates assurance. Others feel steadiness simply by presence. This is leadership born not of words but of embodied calm. The discipline also sharpens endurance against pain. By practicing control of posture and breath, you prepare for physical suffering without surrender. Pain may come, but it cannot break the will if the body has been trained to endure without collapse. Self-command through bodily discipline, then, is not separate from philosophy. It is philosophy lived. To rule yourself outwardly is to reinforce rule inwardly. To align body with mind is to create sovereignty no chaos can overthrow. The Stoics understood the body is the gateway to the soul. When you master posture, breath, and stillness, you create a fortress where reason reigns. In that fortress, even in the storm, calm remains untouched. When you learn to command your body through posture, breath, and stillness, you build a fortress of inner sovereignty. The body ceases to betray the mind and instead supports its calm authority. Yet sovereignty is not maintained in isolation. Even the strongest discipline can be eroded if the company you keep pulls you toward disorder. The Stoics knew that just as food shapes the body, companionship shapes the soul. To live with calm in a chaotic world, you must practice selective association, carefully choosing who has access to your attention and influence over your spirit. The truth is that people are contagious. Moods spread, habits spread, even anxieties spread. Spend time among the restless and you will feel restless. Stay too long with the envious and you will find envy stirring within. Walk with the calm and you will inherit calm. This is not weakness but nature. Human beings absorb the character of those around them. The Stoics warn that no one is so strong as to be immune to corruption from bad company, and no one is so fragile as to miss the benefits of good company. Selective association is therefore not arrogance, but necessity. It means choosing companions with the same care you choose food. Just as you would not eat poison, you must not drink in the bitterness of the malicious, the recklessness of the impulsive, or the despair of the hopeless. To filter your associations is to filter the quality of your inner life. Seneca spoke often of avoiding those who waste time because their habits will pull you into the same squandering. Time is your greatest wealth, and to spend it with people who have no respect for it is to let your life be stolen. Selective association requires vigilance over where your hours go and with whom each conversation either sharpens or dulls you, either lifts you or lowers you. This discipline also demands honesty about influence. Many deceive themselves into thinking they can associate with the vicious without being touched by vice, or spend endless hours with the frivolous without becoming frivolous. But the Stoics rejected this illusion. If you wish to remain steady, spend time with those who are steady. If you wish to remain disciplined, surround yourself with the disciplined. Aspiration grows from proximity. Selective association is not only about avoiding harmful company, but also about seeking beneficial company. The Stoics encourage friendships built on virtue, on mutual correction, on encouragement toward the good. A true friend is not one who flatters, but one who challenges. Not one who indulges your weakness, but one who strengthens your resolve. To choose such companions is to build a circle that supports calm and virtue rather than chaos and indulgence. This practice also extends beyond physical presence. In the modern world, influence reaches you through words, screens, and voices that never meet you in person. Books, media, and digital connections are forms of association too. The Stoics would insist, guard your mind as carefully against these influences as against direct company. If you flood your attention with anger, gossip, and fear, your inner calm will wither even if you never leave your home. Selective association also teaches humility. To admit that company influences you is to acknowledge vulnerability. This is not weakness but wisdom. Recognizing that you are shaped by others allows you to choose wisely. The arrogant deny influence and are quietly consumed by it. The wise admit influence and filter it deliberately. This practice requires courage because often those you must distance yourself from are familiar, even dear. But loyalty to virtue must come before loyalty to comfort. To walk with those who drag you down is to betray yourself. Selective association does not mean abandoning compassion, but it does mean setting boundaries. You can wish others well without joining them in their disorder. Another dimension of this discipline is self-assessment. If you seek good company, you must also become good company. To demand virtue in others while indulging vice yourself is hypocrisy. Selective association therefore requires you to ask, would I want to be influenced by myself? If not, then change. In this way, the practice not only filters others but refines you. This discipline also sharpens your ability to discern appearance from reality. Many present themselves as white, confident, or kind, but their habits reveal otherwise. Selective association trains you to look beyond charm, beyond rhetoric, into the substance of a person's character. This protects you from being misled by flattery or seduced by charisma. In times of crisis, the value of selective association becomes most visible. When chaos erupts, those around you will either multiply your panic or steady your resolve. If you have built a circle of the wise, their calm will reinforce yours. If you have surrounded yourself with the reckless, their fear will drown you. Preparation lies in building the right company before the storm comes. Modern psychology confirms what the Stoics observed. Studies show that behavior spreads through networks from habits of health to patterns of emotion. People adopt the norms of those they spend time with, often unconsciously. The Stoics anticipated this truth, urging deliberate choice of companions as a safeguard for the soul. This practice also cultivates freedom. When you are selective with associations, you release yourself from the prison of needing to please everyone. Not all company is worth keeping, and to admit this is to free yourself from the burden of endless obligations. You begin to prioritize depth over breadth, choosing a few virtuous companions over many shallow ones. Selective association also teaches the value of solitude. It is better to be alone than in corrupting company. Solitude, when used for reflection, is not loneliness, but strength. It creates space for self-examination and guards against the erosion of character. The Stoics praised solitude as fertile ground for philosophy, provided it was chosen, not forced. This practice is not rigid exclusion, but wise curation. It does not mean shutting the world out, but knowing what influences are worth letting in. You cannot avoid all contact with vice, but you can decide how deeply it touches you. The art lies in maintaining openness to humanity while filtering intimacy for virtue. By practicing selective association, you build an environment that sustains calm. Chaos will always exist in the world, but it need not take root in your inner circle. The people closest to you either scatter your energy or center it. Choose those who help you grow in patience, in courage, in reason, and in calm. And when you walk with such companions, you will find that calm multiplies. Just as fear spreads, so does steadiness. A circle of the disciplined creates a climate where chaos cannot flourish. This is why the Stoics insisted, choose your company with care. For in choosing your companions, you choose the shape of your own soul. When you choose your company wisely, you protect your mind from needless turbulence. The people around you either feed your discipline or erode it. Yet even with careful association, the greatest source of disturbance still comes from within your own emotions. Anger, fear, grief, envy, and frustration rise uninvited, and no amount of external filtering can prevent their arrival. The Stoics understood that emotions cannot be erased by willpower alone. To suppress them is to trap fire in a box where it smolders and eventually consumes. True mastery comes not from denial, but from transformation, turning destructive energy into constructive strength. Emotional transmutation is the Stoic alternative to suppression. Instead of pretending not to feel, you acknowledge emotion fully. Examine it with reason and redirect its force toward useful ends. This is not about being cold or detached, but about making emotions serve rather than enslave. Just as a skilled smith bends iron into tools, a disciplined mind bends raw feelings into instruments of virtue. Consider anger. Left unchecked, anger burns relationships, clouds judgment, and provokes regret. Suppressed, it furs into bitterness or explodes later in greater fury. But transmuted, anger becomes courage, a determination to act justly and firmly without cruelty. The energy of anger is not destroyed, it is refined. The Stoics taught that when insulted, instead of striking back, ask what lesson can be drawn. Use the heat of anger not for revenge, but for sharpening patience, for reinforcing restraint, or for fueling resolve to improve yourself. Fear operates in a similar way. Suppression of fear produces denial, and denial leaves you unprepared. Indulgence in fear produces paralysis, but transmutation turns fear into foresight. The same imagination that magnifies danger can be redirected into preparation. Epictetus advised that fear should remind you to examine what lies within your control and what does not. The energy of fear can then be used to strengthen readiness, to rehearse responses, and to deepen resilience. Instead of running from fear, you let it guide you toward vigilance and clarity. Grief is one of the hardest emotions to face. Suppressed, it poisons the heart. Indulged, it becomes endless despair. Yet grief too can be transformed. The Stoics did not deny sorrow when death or loss arrived. They accepted it as natural, but they refused to let it consume life. Grief can be transmuted into gratitude for what was shared, into compassion for others who suffer, or into a renewed sense of urgency to live well with the time that remains. The energy of grief becomes a reminder of mortality, a teacher of value, a driver toward love expressed more fully in the present. The practice of emotional transmutation begins with awareness. When emotion rises, the first task is not to act, but to notice. Say to yourself, this is anger, this is fear, this is sorrow. Naming the feeling creates distance, a gap where reason can intervene. In that gap lies freedom, the choice not to suppress or indulge, but to redirect. The second step is examination. Ask, what is the source of this emotion? Is it rooted in something within my control or beyond it? Much of emotional chaos comes from confusing the two. By identifying the source, you reduce confusion and see where your energy can be applied. Anger at another's opinion, fear of death, grief over change. These belong to the realm of fate, not command. Redirect energy to what can be shaped: your judgment, your character, your actions. The third step is conversion. Take the raw intensity of the feeling and ask, how can this be used for virtue? Can anger strengthen justice? Can fear sharpen vigilance? Can grief deepen gratitude? This shift transforms emotion from enemy to ally. You are not crushed by what you feel, but you are carried by it in a better direction. This practice also dissolves the illusion that calm means the absence of emotion. The Stoics never aimed to become stone. They aim to become masters of response. Emotions are part of human nature, but mastery lies in deciding how to use them. Calm is not numbness. It is the power to shape feeling into strength. Emotional transmutation also strengthens relationships. Many conflicts arise not from the emotion itself, but from how it is handled. Anger expressed rashly wounds. Fear projected onto others spreads panic. Grief turned inward isolates. But when these emotions are redirected, they strengthen bonds. Anger becomes firm boundaries without cruelty. Fear becomes shared vigilance that protects. Grief becomes shared compassion that unites. There is also resilience in this practice. Life will always stir emotions. You cannot prevent anger from arising when insulted, or fear when threatened, or grief when loss strikes. But by practicing transmutation, you prevent these emotions from breaking you. They become fuel for growth instead of weapons against you. Modern psychology confirms this ancient wisdom. Research on emotional regulation shows that suppression leads to stress, illness, and disconnection, while reappraisal, reframing emotion, leads to resilience and well-being. The Stoics anticipated this by teaching not to deny emotions, but to reinterpret them through reason. Another strength of transmutation is its ability to conserve energy. Suppression consumes enormous mental effort. Indulgence drains it further. But transmutation reclaims energy. The fire that once burned destructively now warms and illuminates. What once scattered you now centers you. This practice requires training in small things. When irritated by delay, instead of suppressing frustration, ask how patience can be strengthened. When anxious about the future, redirect energy into preparation or learning. When sad over absence, let gratitude for presence grow sharper. Each small act of transmutation builds the skill for larger storms. There is humility in this discipline. To transmute emotion, you must admit you feel it. Denial is pride. Acknowledgement is honesty. The Stoics did not pretend to be beyond emotion. They admitted its presence but refused its tyranny. This honesty is the beginning of mastery. Over time, this practice creates a strange power. Others may wonder how you remain calm in provocation, how you move with strength in fear, how you carry grief without despair. The secret is not absence of feeling, but mastery of it. You no longer waste life fighting emotions or being enslaved by them. You harness them. This is the essence of Stoic transmutation. Anger becomes courage. Fear becomes foresight. Grief becomes gratitude. Emotions lose their chaos when reason claims their energy. Suppression weakens. Indulgence enslaves, but transmutation liberates. And when you live this way, chaos itself becomes fuel. The very emotions that once threatened to overwhelm now drive growth, clarity, and strength. This is not the death of feeling, but the rebirth of it reshaped by reason into something unbreakable. When raw emotion is redirected instead of suppressed, it no longer corrodes the soul but strengthens it. Anger becomes energy for courage. Fear becomes vigilance. Grief becomes gratitude. Yet even with this power of transmutation, the work is not finished. Emotions and impressions still leave marks within the mind. If they are not examined, they linger as shadows, clouding thought and feeding future disturbances. The Stoics knew that the mind, like the body, requires daily cleansing, and their chosen instrument for this surgery of the soul was writing. Journaling was not decoration or pastime. It was a tool to dissect disturbances, remove infection, and heal the wound through clarity. Writing is a mirror sharper than memory. Thoughts swirl when kept inside, but when placed on the page, they reveal their true shape. A worry that feels immense in the mind often shrinks when described in words. An insult that seemed unbearable shows itself as trivial when written down. By recording disturbances, you strip them of vagueness. Writing transforms emotion from a storm into a subject for study. Marcus Aurelius left behind his meditations, which were never written for an audience, but as exercises in personal correction. On those pages, he confronted his anger, his fears, his weariness, his temptations. He argued with himself, reminded himself of principles, and carved away illusions. Each entry was a scalpel cutting through confusion, leaving behind a clearer, stronger mind. What survives today is not polished philosophy, but a record of daily surgery. Journaling as Stoic practice has several functions. The first is diagnosis. By writing, you identify what truly disturbed you. Was it the insult itself or your pride attached to it? Was it the loss itself or the expectation that it should not happen? The act of writing separates event from interpretation, helping you see where the real wound lies. Diagnosis is the first step of healing. The second function is correction. Once you see the thought clearly, you can challenge it. You can remind yourself of Stoic principles, that externals are not yours, that virtue is the only good, that time is fleeting. Writing these reminders reinforces them, carving them deeper into memory. Each correction is like stitching the wound, closing it with reason. The third function is preparation. By recording disturbances, you also anticipate their return. If you notice that certain insults trigger anger, you can prepare responses for next time. If certain fears return again and again, you can rehearse answers before they arise. Journaling thus turns past chaos into training for future calm. This practice is also a safeguard against self-deception. The mind is skilled at hiding from itself, justifying impulses, excusing weaknesses. But on the page, excuses reveal themselves. Writing forces honesty. You cannot easily lie to yourself when the words stare back. The act of journaling makes the hidden visible. Another benefit is perspective. Reading back what you wrote weeks or months ago shows how often disturbances fade. What once felt crushing is now irrelevant. This hindsight teaches humility. Most of what agitates us is temporary, and writing gives proof of it. Journaling becomes a record not only of struggles, but of their impermanence. The act of writing also slows thought. Emotions move quickly, overwhelming reason. Writing requires pace. You must form words, shape sentences, put thoughts into order. This slowness itself is therapeutic. It forces the mind to pause, to process, to reflect instead of react. The page absorbs haste and replaces it with deliberation. Journaling also strengthens gratitude. By noting disturbances alongside blessings, you see balance. You realize that pain was not the whole story, that joy and support coexisted with it. Gratitude grows clearer when recorded, and gratitude itself is medicine against despair. The practice need not be elaborate. A few sentences can be enough. Seneca advised reviewing the day each evening, asking, what did I do well? What did I do poorly? What could I improve? This nightly reflection was his way of keeping accounts with himself. The page was both ledger and physician. There is also freedom in knowing that the page holds your burdens. To write them down is to release them from carrying endlessly in the mind. The act itself is cathartic, a cleansing of excess weight. The page becomes a confidant that asks nothing in return, that absorbs without judgment. Modern psychology echoes these truths. Studies show that expressive writing reduces stress, improves resilience, and strengthens mental health. Writing helps people reframe trauma, organize thoughts, and process emotions. The Stoics intuited this long before science confirmed it. Journaling is also a teacher of humility. When you see your struggles written, you recognize patterns. The same pride, the same fears, the same angers appear repeatedly. This humbles you, reminding you that philosophy is not mastered once, but practiced daily. The page keeps you honest about progress and relapse. The discipline also cultivates solitude. To write is to step away from noise, to listen inwardly. This solitude is not isolation, but communion with reason. Journaling becomes a daily retreat where you sharpen the tools of thought before re-entering the world. Another strength of journaling is its ability to clarify values. By examining disturbances, you learn what you truly care about. If insult agitates you, perhaps you value reputation too much. If loss crushes you, perhaps you cling too tightly to possessions. Journaling exposes hidden attachments and offers a chance to realign with Stoic priorities. The practice also builds continuity. Each day's reflection connects to the next. Over time, a journal becomes a map of your journey, a record of battles fought and lessons learned. This continuity reinforces discipline, reminding you that growth is a process, not an instant victory. It also sharpens memory. Writing down reflections cements them. Insights that might be forgotten remain preserved, ready to be revisited. In this way, Journaling accumulates wisdom, turning daily experiences into a library of lessons. Journaling is not only about recording past events, but also about shaping future intention by writing what you hope to embody tomorrow. Patience, courage, calm. You set the mind toward it. The page becomes both record and guide, both mirror and compass. In turbulent times, journaling offers stability. When chaos surrounds, the page remains steady. You can pour confusion onto it, and in return, it gives clarity. Writing becomes an anchor, keeping reason grounded. When the world shakes, to the Stoics, journaling was not luxury but necessity. Without daily correction, the mind drifts. Without examination, illusions grow. Without honesty, pride furs. The page is the scalpel, the mirror, the physician, the teacher. Writing is not about eloquence, but about healing. Through this discipline, disturbances become lessons. Wounds become wisdom. Chaos becomes order. Journaling is surgery for the soul, performed daily, quietly, effectively. And through this continual practice, the mind is strengthened, clarified, and restored to calm. When the habit of journaling becomes part of your daily discipline, disturbances lose their power to linger. Writing strips them of vagueness, turns them into lessons, and reminds you that what feels heavy today often looks small tomorrow. Yet, this act of perspective leads naturally to a deeper truth, one that the Stoics return to again and again. The reason problems fade with time, it is not because they are solved perfectly, but because all things eventually pass. What feels permanent is always dissolving. Nothing stays. Nothing is fixed. Nothing belongs to you forever. The only constant is impermanence. To resist this truth is to live in conflict with reality. To embrace it is to discover calm even in chaos. Radical acceptance of impermanence is not resignation, but liberation. Most of human anxiety grows from the attempt to freeze what is by nature fleeting. Youth, health, possessions, relationships, reputation. The more tightly you cling, the more fragile you feel. But the one who accepts transience, no longer fears loss because loss is expected. They no longer demand permanence because they know permanence does not exist. This acceptance turns chaos into rhythm, loss into cycle, and endings into transformations. Life itself announces impermanence everywhere. The seasons shift without asking. The body changes each year. Friendships evolve, cities rise and fall, even mountains erode. To demand stability from a universe built on motion is like demanding the tide to stop. The Stoics taught that calm comes not from bending nature to your will, but from aligning your will with nature, and nature is constant change. Acceptance of impermanence begins with facing mortality. Death is the final proof that nothing lasts. Every day carries you closer to it, and denial only breeds dread. But when you embrace mortality, you free yourself from fearing it. Death becomes not a theft, but a completion, a return to the cycle that has carried every creature before you. This awareness does not darken life, it brightens it. When you know time is short, you live with urgency, gratitude, and clarity. Impermanence also reframes grief. When loved ones die, the pain is sharp, but acceptance teaches that their passing was never a violation. It was part of the order. To love someone is to accept from the start that the bond is temporary. This makes affection deeper, not weaker, because every moment is recognized as precious. By embracing impermanence, grief transforms from bitterness into gratitude for the time shared. The same truth applies to possessions. Wealth, homes, achievements, all appear solid, but are only temporary arrangements. Fortune can erase them in a moment. The Stoic response is not to despise possessions, but to hold them lightly. Enjoy them while they remain. Release them when they go. Possessions are tools, not anchors. By accepting their impermanence, you are never destroyed by their loss. Impermanence also strips fear from failure. If every success fades and every failure fades, why fear either? Praise passes quickly, and so does blame. What seemed like ruin one year often becomes irrelevant the next. By remembering this, you refuse to let either triumph or defeat control your spirit. You act with integrity in the present, knowing both applause and criticism are temporary echoes. This practice reshapes how you handle change. Many resist change, longing for the comfort of stability. But stability itself is illusion. To accept impermanence is to welcome change as natural. What looks like chaos is simply transition. What feels like ending is often beginning. This shift dissolves fear of the unknown because the unknown is simply the next phase of the cycle. Radical acceptance also sharpens gratitude. If you thought something would last forever, you would not value it. The certainty of impermanence is what gives meaning to the present. A meal tastes better because it ends. A sunset is beautiful because it fades. A conversation matters because it cannot be repeated exactly. To embrace impermanence is to awaken gratitude for everything while it is here. The Stoics practiced daily reminders of this truth. Marcus Aurelius told himself that people he loved could be gone tomorrow, and that he too could die at any time. Far from making him cold, this gave him urgency to treat others with kindness, to waste no words on trivial conflict, and to act in accordance with virtue. For him, impermanence was not despair, but discipline. This discipline also protects against arrogance. When you remember that your body will decay, your wealth will pass to others, and your name will fade from memory, you stop treating yourself as the center of the universe. You stop chasing immortality in fame or possessions, and begin seeking permanence in virtue alone. Character is the only legacy that endures beyond the shifting of fortune. Acceptance of impermanence does not make you passive. On the contrary, it gives courage. If all is transient, why delay? Why hesitate to act justly, to speak truth, to love deeply? Waiting for the perfect moment is foolish when all moments vanish. Acceptance teaches you to live fully now because now is all you ever hold. There is also peace in knowing that suffering too is impermanent. Pain feels endless when inside it, but no pain lasts forever. Illness eases, grief softens, storms pass. By reminding yourself of this, you bear hardship with more patience. Endurance grows when you remember that endurance is only needed for a time. Modern science echoes this Stoic truth. Neuroscience shows that emotions, even intense ones, are temporary waves in the brain. Studies of resilience reveal that people who accept change and impermanence suffer less anxiety and recover faster from trauma. The Stoics, long before these studies, built their philosophy on this same principle. Nothing lasts, and that is the key to freedom. Acceptance of impermanence also transforms ambition. Many chase endlessly for legacy, for monuments, for lasting recognition. But all monuments crumble, and all names are forgotten. The wisest ambition is not to be remembered forever, but to live rightly now. When you detach from craving permanence, you redirect ambition toward virtue, which is always within reach. Daily practice of this discipline can take many forms. Begin by noticing small impermanences: the cooling of a cup of tea, the fading of a sound, the passing of a cloud. These reminders train the mind to accept larger impermanences: the loss of possessions, the changes in relationships, the approach of death. Each small acceptance builds strength for greater ones. Radical acceptance of impermanence also softens judgment. When others wrong you, remember that they too will pass, their words will fade, and their mistakes will dissolve in time. This makes forgiveness easier, patience more natural. Why let temporary offenses disturb permanent calm? At its core, embracing impermanence is about alignment with reality. To resist change is to live in illusion. To accept it is to live in truth. The universe does not ask permission to move. And peace is found not by stopping its motion, but by moving with it, by holding impermanence close. You live with clarity, humility, gratitude, and courage. You release what cannot stay. You cherish what is here, and you prepare calmly for what must come. Chaos loses its sting because it is recognized as part of the cycle, not a violation of it. This is the gift of radical acceptance. To find calm, not by freezing life, but by flowing with it. To dissolve anxiety, not by denial, but by alignment. Everything changes. And in that truth lies the key to unshakable peace. When impermanence is embraced, you stop clinging to what must pass and find peace in the flow of change. Gratitude deepens, fear lessens, and life feels lighter. Yet the Stoics never taught that acceptance of transiency meant retreat from responsibility. On the contrary, it was precisely because all things fade that they emphasized the urgency of duty. If time is short and nothing is guaranteed, then what you choose to do with your brief existence carries immense weight. Duty for the Stoics was the anchor that kept a person steady when others drifted in disorder. Chaos tests character most fiercely when people abandon their roles. Fear scatters responsibility. People rush to protect themselves, to hide, to excuse inaction. But the Stoic sees duty as a compass that does not change with circumstance. Whether the times are calm or catastrophic, duty remains. It is not dictated by ease or convenience, but by nature and reason. To know your role, to commit to it without wavering, is to stand firm when others fall apart. Duty begins with understanding the order of life. You are part of a family, a community, a world. Each role carries obligations, not imposed from outside, but inherent in the very fabric of existence. A parent owes care, a leader owes justice, a friend owes loyalty, a citizen owes honesty. These duties may shift in form, but their essence remains to act in harmony with reason and virtue, regardless of surrounding disorder. Marcus Aurelius wrote that each of us is like a limb of a greater body. If one limb refuses its function, the body weakens. Likewise, if you abandon your duty, you do not only fail yourself, you weaken the whole. The Stoic vision of duty is not selfish, but communal. Responsibility is the glue that holds order together when chaos threatens to dissolve it. Duty is also protection against despair. In times of crisis, when events feel overwhelming, the mind easily collapses under the weight of what cannot be controlled. But duty narrows the focus. You cannot save the world, but you can act rightly in your role. A soldier may not end the war, but he can stand his post. A doctor may not cure all disease, but she can treat the patient before her. Duty reduces chaos to action, turning helplessness into purpose. This discipline requires courage because duty often demands sacrifice. It may call you to endure discomfort, to face danger, to accept blame unjustly. But the Stoics taught that such trials do not diminish life. They fulfill it. To abandon duty for comfort is to betray yourself. To embrace duty in hardship is to prove your worth. Duty also provides clarity in decision-making. In disorder, choices multiply, each pulling in different directions. Fear and desire cloud judgment. But when you measure decisions against duty, clarity returns. The question is no longer what do I want, but what is required of me. This shift transforms chaos into a series of obligations, each met with steadiness. The Stoic approach to duty also prevents selfish retreat. Many, in times of disorder, withdraw into isolation, convincing themselves that survival alone is enough. But the Stoics condemn neglect of communal duty. Even in personal hardship, one remains part of a greater order. To live in accordance with nature is to fulfill obligations to others, not abandon them. Duty is not always grand or dramatic. It is often found in the small and ordinary. Speaking truth when lies are easy, showing kindness when cruelty prevails, completing a task even when no one notices. These small acts repeated steadily build character and sustain order. Duty is not measured by applause but by fidelity. This practice also guards against despair by reminding you that no chaos can erase responsibility. Even if empires fall, you still owe honesty to yourself, kindness to those near you, and discipline in your actions. Duty does not vanish in catastrophe. It grows more vital. There is also humility in the Stoic concept of duty. It reminds you that life is not centered on personal preference. You are not here only to satisfy desires or to chase pleasures. You are here to fulfill a role in a larger order. This perspective prevents ego from collapsing into chaos when life denies it comfort. Duty, when embraced, also strengthens resilience. The one who lives by duty does not ask whether life is fair, but whether they are acting rightly. This orientation removes much of the bitterness that disorder breeds. Injustice may remain, chaos may swirl, but the Stoic asks only, am I performing my role with integrity? That question alone keeps the soul steady. Modern thought confirms this ancient wisdom. Studies of resilience show that those with a strong sense of purpose withstand crisis better than those without. Duty functions as purpose. It provides meaning in suffering and direction in confusion. The Stoics anticipated this. Responsibility is not a burden, but a source of strength. This discipline also reveals the connection between freedom and responsibility. Many think freedom is doing whatever you wish. But Stoics argued that true freedom is mastery of self, and mastery requires responsibility. Without duty, desire enslaves you. With duty, reason guides you. In this way, responsibility is not the opposite of freedom, but its foundation. Duty also ensures legacy. Wealth fades, reputation fades, but the record of whether you fulfilled your responsibilities endures in the memory of those affected by your actions. A life of abandoned duty leaves scars. A life of steadfast duty leaves strength. Practicing this discipline begins with reflection. Each day ask, what is my role? What does require of me today? These questions anchor you when events feel overwhelming. Duty is not about controlling outcomes, but about performing your part well, regardless of the stage around you. Even in solitude, duty persists. You owe honesty to yourself, discipline in thought, and care for your body and mind. Abandoning these is also neglect. Duty is not dependent on an audience. It is woven into existence itself. The Stoics also warned against mistaking selfish ambition for duty. True duty is aligned with virtue, not vanity. It is not about appearing noble, but about being faithful to what reason demands. This distinction prevents corruption disguised as responsibility. In turbulent times, the one who embraces duty becomes an anchor for others. People naturally look for steadiness when they are scattered. If you remain faithful to your role, you give stability to those around you. Your duty becomes not only your strength, but theirs as well. This is why the Stoics insisted that duty is not optional. It is the path to calm in disorder, the compass in confusion, the anchor in storm. By living according to duty, you rise above chaos without leaving it. You remain engaged, responsible, unshaken. In the end, duty is not a chain but a foundation. It grounds you in virtue when everything else shifts. It gives purpose to suffering, direction to action, and meaning to time. Embracing duty amid disorder is the Stoic way of proving that chaos may shake the world, but it cannot shake the one who knows their role and fulfills it. When duty is embraced, chaos loses much of its power. Responsibility keeps you steady when the world pulls people in every direction. But there is another enemy of calm that lives not outside but within the restless hunger of desire. You can fulfill your duty faithfully and still be torn apart if your heart is enslaved to endless wants. The Stoics warn that disorder is not only in wars and disasters, but also in the mind of a person who cannot stop craving. True freedom requires a poverty of desire, not because life must be bleak, but because simplicity protects the soul from being scattered by distractions. The modern world magnifies this danger. You are surrounded by noise that tells you to want more. More possessions, more recognition, more stimulation, more novelty. Each desire promises satisfaction but delivers restlessness. The more you feed it, the hungrier it becomes. This cycle is the wealth of distraction, a life so full of unnecessary cravings that peace never arrives. The Stoic solution is radical. Do not multiply wants. Reduce them. Seek contentment not in abundance but in sufficiency. To need little is to be rich and calm. Seneca wrote that the person who has the least is not the poorest, but the one who desires the most. Poverty of desire is not deprivation. It is liberation. It means refusing to let your life be dictated by advertisements, comparisons, or the insatiable appetite of ego. It means finding joy in bread and water, gratitude in warmth and shelter, and dignity in enough. This simplicity shields you from overstimulation by stripping away its fuel. To practice this discipline, begin with attention. Notice how often anxiety comes not from what you lack in reality, but from what you think you should have. The neighbor's possessions, the collègue's recognition, the endless stream of images online, all plant seeds of desire that grow into unrest. But if you pause and ask, do I truly need this? You often discover the answer is no. The desire fades when exposed to scrutiny. The Stoics also trained through voluntary deprivation. They deliberately lived for periods with little food, coarse clothing, or uncomfortable beds. The purpose was not misery, but proof. By tasting poverty, they discovered they could endure it. Once you know you can live with less, fear of losing more disappears. Poverty of desire becomes a shield because no loss can shake you when you are content with little. This practice also reveals how many desires are distractions from what matters. Endless entertainment, constant novelty, and obsessive consumption may numb discomfort, but they also numb life. The Stoics insisted that attention is the most valuable currency, and scattering it weakens the soul. By simplifying wants, you reclaim attention for wisdom, for virtue, for relationships, for work that endures. There is also humility in reducing desire. To crave endlessly is to live in arrogance, as if the world exists only to satisfy you. But to be content with little is to live in harmony with nature. Nature provides enough food, air, shelter, companionship. It is human vanity that demands excess. By returning to sufficiency, you align with reality instead of fighting it. Another strength of this discipline is resilience. A person dependent on luxury is fragile. Any disruption leaves them helpless. But one trained in simplicity adapts easily. If comfort is available, they enjoy it without attachment. If it is taken, they endure without despair. Poverty of desire creates flexibility, which is the essence of strength. This mindset also protects against manipulation. Many systems thrive on inflaming desire. They tell you that happiness requires their product, their approval, their promise. But if your desires are few, their influence vanishes. The person who wants little is impossible to control. They cannot be bribed with wealth or frightened with loss. Poverty of desire also nourishes gratitude. When you expect little, everything feels like a gift. A simple meal becomes a banquet. A modest home, a palace, a friend's company, a treasure. Gratitude grows in proportion to simplicity because the fewer your requirements, the more often they are met. This practice sharpens discipline as well. By deliberately choosing less, you train the will. Each refusal of unnecessary indulgence strengthens your command over appetite. Each choice of sufficiency over excess builds sovereignty. This discipline does not kill joy. It refines it, turning pleasure into appreciation instead of addiction. The Stoics often compared desires to a fire. The more wood you throw on it, the larger it grows, but starve it, and it diminishes. Poverty of desire is the act of starving unnecessary cravings until the fire of restlessness dies. What remains is warmth enough to live without flames that consume peace. Modern science echoes these lessons. Studies on materialism show that those who crave possessions and status report lower happiness and higher anxiety. Simplicity, by contrast, increases well-being and reduces stress. The Stoics were not rejecting wealth itself, but the slavery to wealth, the illusion that more always equals better. To live this discipline does not mean abandoning all possessions. It means using them without clinging to them, enjoying them without depending on them. It means holding everything lightly, ready to release it if taken. True ownership lies not in what you hold, but in your freedom to let go. This practice also transforms ambition. Instead of chasing endless goals for prestige or comfort, you pursue goals aligned with virtue and meaning. Desire for recognition fades, replaced by desire for excellence. Desire for excess fades, replaced by contentment in sufficiency. Ambition purified by simplicity becomes service rather than vanity. Daily application can be simple but profound. Skip indulgence occasionally to prove you do not depend on it. Practice gratitude for ordinary meals. Resist the pull of comparison by measuring yourself not against others, but against your own virtue. Redirect attention from acquisition to reflection. Each act reduces the noise of desire and strengthens calm. In turbulent times, this discipline becomes a fortress. When luxuries vanish, the one who craves them suffers. But the one who has trained in simplicity remains unshaken. Their calm does not depend on circumstances, but on mastery of want. Poverty of desire makes chaos powerless because chaos thrives on excess attachment. In the end, the choice is clear. You can live with the wealth of distraction, surrounded by abundance, yet restless and enslaved. Or you can choose the poverty of desire, living with less but free, steady, and calm. The Stoics showed that real wealth lies not in possessions, but in peace. By simplifying wants, you build armor against overstimulation. By choosing sufficiency, you escape manipulation. By practicing gratitude for little, you find abundance everywhere. Poverty of desire is not loss, but liberation. Not emptiness, but strength. It is the shield that allows you to walk through a world of noise with unshakable calm. Chaos is not going away. Life will always bring loss, noise, insult, fear, and endless change. But the Stoics left us a roadmap showing that peace is not found by controlling the storm. It is found by mastering ourselves within it. Through voluntary discomfort, we train resilience. By anticipating misfortune, we remove fear. With delay, we weaken impulse. By reframing chaos as training, we turn hardship into strength. Silence teaches clarity. Detachment frees us from illusion. Insults become mirrors for growth. Nature restores proportion. And the view from above humbles our pride. Memento mori and negative visualization sharpen gratitude. Apatheia anchors equanimity. Bodily discipline strengthens sovereignty. Selective association filters influence. Transmutation transforms emotions. Journaling heals disturbance. Impermanence deepens acceptance. Duty anchors responsibility. Poverty of desire protects from distraction. And every practice together creates a fortress within where calm cannot be shaken. This is the Stoic way. Not escape, not denial, but transformation. A way of living where storms remain, yet you remain unbroken. Now I'd love to hear from you. What part of this Stoic path spoke to you most deeply? Was it the power of silence, the freedom of detachment, or the courage of memento mori? Share your thoughts below. I read every comment, and your reflections may inspire someone else on their journey to calm. And if this guide brought you value, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. New lessons and practices are coming, and together we'll keep building a life of clarity, strength, and calm, no matter the chaos.